Feel it. There was early, but you couldn't figure out just what it was. Then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I'm doing this video. I have been asked by many people to cover it. I'm getting around to it now. It's about this game called Far Cry 5. Now, I need to cover video games more, I think, because there are so many young teens out there that play it. I always forget that this is a big thing, gaming. Not that I've never played video games before or anything like that. I always forget how big this is with kids and how they can be influenced through it. I've covered some games before that people pointed out to me that actually were filled with nothing but satanic imagery, as well as human and animal sacrifice inside of a pentagram. I covered that last year, thanks to a subscriber that pointed it out. Many people have asked me to cover this one. So I looked into it, and I cannot even believe the propaganda that I see from watching the trailer and then researching what this game is about. And of course, it's being promoted by websites like Business Insider. Because guess what the plot of the video game is? Guess they're trying to brainwash kids into thinking and fighting against quote-unquote religious zealots. And it has every single inkling of meaning Christianity, because that's exactly what they're talking about in the game. Willingly jumping on board, they say. Some folks are willingly jumping on board with the religious extremists. It seems that the majority are being forced against their will in the video game to follow this guy who's even shown as a preacher and being a spiritual leader of this Christian group, giving people forced baptism. So what do you think the subliminal mind control is here? Forced baptisms. Now, as Christians, we all know that you cannot be forced into salvation. You have to find salvation. But they're saying, listen, Christians are forcing their beliefs on people. They're forcing Jesus on people. They're forcing their bigotry on people because they're not going along with transgenderism and all of the ridiculous stuff we see in the world. This is a war on Christianity. And this video game is geared towards who? It's geared towards teenagers, young teens, older teens, 20-year-olds, millennials. They even show a scene where a guy is killed and he has some type of crucifix through his back. It says there appears to be a strict adherence to Christianity, to an extreme where people representative of the 7 sins are being hunted down. So anyone who sins is being murdered. It's absolute propaganda. And we all know what the goal of this is, to continue to turn people on Christians. They're using every form of media they could possibly find. They use it on television all the time. They make Christians look like fools. We have these fake evangelists that are a part of the elite system who go on TV begging for money, talking about salvation through money and all these other things. We see characters on shows where Christians are always dorky and weird and creepy and get made fun of. We see the Jimmy Kimmels of the world mocking Jesus all the time in skits. You're only allowed in this world to mock Jesus, apparently, because they don't talk about anything else. I don't see anybody mocking that fat tubble-lard Buddha. How come nobody's mocking that fat boy? Take a guess why. Because the only enemy to the elites are Christians, because Jesus Christ is their enemy. They hate Jesus Christ. They detest God. They detest the Bible. And they detest people who follow it. And they detest anyone who refuses to conform with their ideologies. So you see in this game, we hear a preacher preaching. His name is the Father. Sound familiar? That's the guy's name. The game's villain is a religious zealot. His name is the Father. Joseph Seed, right? More subliminal programming with seeds, planting seeds, mocking God. But the man calls himself Father. And he has a cult-like following of religious zealots who are forcing their beliefs on people. And if people don't want to believe in it, they'll either kill you or force it on you. What's funny about it is that's exactly the opposite of what's going on. They're forcing their beliefs on people through mind control, into accepting the Baphomet, into accepting this insanity, this transgenderism, all the crap we see going on. And with this, you get the opposite, right? This isn't really what's going on, but they're going to make us look this way. They already are, because we're the ones not going along with stuff, right? Look how we're portrayed again in the media with all these things going on around the world. We see the town, Hope County, Montana, because they want it to be representative of small-town rural America, where you see right on the sign instead of Hope County, somebody spray paints the word sinner across it. And isn't it interesting that they would release a game like that? They tell us that Muslims are our enemy, that all this stuff's going on over in the Middle East, that these people, that ISIS exists, that our government's actually not funding it. I mean, all this crap that we're supposed to buy into, that they would make a game. And instead of having the Muslims, they couldn't do that, right? Having them the enemy. It's Christians. Christians who are doing nothing wrong, who are following their beliefs, who aren't preaching and following tolerance and acceptance of all things, because we don't believe in the do without will mindset, because we're not sick. We have morals. We have beliefs. We have foundation, something that these sick pups don't have. So what are they teaching? I mean, isn't it funny how they, some of the stuff they deem wrong and we can't have out in the world? This is okay, a game where there's a religious group which is portrayed as Christians, people walking around holding what appears to be Bibles, but they won't write the word Bible on it, right? So they have this almost like a cross, but it's not fully a crucifix. We know who they're talking about, unless you're really dumb. And the guy calling himself Father, wow, wonder who he's supposed to be playing the role of, right? He's not supposed to be Jesus, is he? Is that what he's supposed to be? That's what they're trying to make it subliminally be. And this is how mind control works. So this is targeting young teens out there to not like Christians, to look at us all as religious zealots who are forcing their belief on people. This is how mind control works. Now look at the video games that have come out in the past. We've seen Grand Theft Auto, and really how it's dumbed down people and made them even more, interested in becoming a criminal, or I mean, it's so ridiculous, these games and the propaganda they push. When I grew up, it was Mario Brothers, there was Tecmo Bowl, some sports games, and I get it if you don't like sports or whatever, but the stuff they have now, they use this as a medium for mind control. There's people literally who create these fairy tale lands that they live in these games. Like they have avatars I've read about, and they date people through their avatar. I mean, crazy stuff, embarrassing stuff. But nonetheless, people like to play video games, and they're into these games, and they're using this to brainwash people. And they're convincing young teens that being Christian's bad, that it's wrong, that we're crazy, that we're extremists. That's what they make it look like, extremists, because Christians, again, are portrayed as what? We want guns. All Christians are, they go to church and they claim, that they read the Bible and how God's about love and peace, and then they want guns and stuff like that, because people don't understand the guns aren't to kill other people, to protect us from our government, for crying out loud, or protect us in our own homes, because we can't rely on our government or our police to protect us if something does happen or did happen, or even if it was something locally that happened, you had to protect yourself against people. But they make it seem like Christians want guns, they want to kill people, they're crazy, and if you don't believe in what they believe in, they want to kill you. And that's the message they're sending to teens and kids out there. So this is absolutely appalling. It's appalling. And I apologize for not getting to this sooner, because a lot of people did message me about it. But I wasn't aware that video games now, I thought I'd have to play the game or something to figure out what it was. But apparently video games now have trailers like movies. How crazy is that? Video games literally have movie trailers to promote the games, where they show you the whole plot, the whole experience. It's almost like, it literally is like watching a movie. And I guess playing in a movie is the experience that people get. And people love it. And they're going to use this now. They're going to use it for more than just this, more than just attacks on Christians. But it's amazing that Christian organizations aren't just outraged by this kind of stuff. Outraged. They even show a picture here of the 3 people, I guess, who are supposed to be the ones who are going to fight to free Hope County from the religious zealots. One of them happens to be a priest. It looks like he's wearing a priest outfit and he's holding a gun. So what does that say, right? About the Catholic Church, promoting the Catholic Church. I mean, the Jesuits are behind the game, but look at that, the hero. Isn't that a conflict of interest, some would say? That you guys who listen to this channel, you see the programming there. Well, Christians are bad, Christian zealots are bad, but this Catholic priest is good because he's going against the Christian zealots. He's even wielding a gun. It's amazing. It really is. So this is Far Cry 5. And it's a far cry from the games I grew up playing, I'll tell you that. When you got trailers and stuff for these video games, and they can use it for predictive programming now. It's amazing how they're going after these kids, and people don't see the agenda. They are coming after them from every perspective possible. Every perspective. Every form of technology. We will see all of these New World agendas pushed. We will see attacks on Christianity, mockery of Christianity, all of this stuff. It's all part of their plan. And this is how they're going to brainwash all of these young teens out there into not only being Satanists without realizing it by living the do that will mindset, because they'll say, well, that's what Satanism is. You don't really worship this big red guy with horns. It's just more of a mindset of tolerance and accepting of all. You know, because that's what the Satanic Temple tries to say, right? They go, well, you know, Satanists are the ultimate form of rebellion. Like, we're rebels and we're free and we believe in everybody can do what they want. And everybody's going to go along and love it. They're not going to be aware of the human sacrifice rituals and all that stuff in the beginning. Over time, they'll be willing to do it because you know what they'll do? They'll say, hey, you know, if you put blood on your face and get rid of your wrinkles, I can. You know, if you eat a brain, you can get rid of cancer. Really? You don't think they're going to go along with it? That's how dumbed down of a world we are. People refuse to believe mind control is real because of their pride. Oh, that's, I don't know what's influencing me. Oh, no, they don't realize everything they like in their lives is based off of influence and mind control and things that they've been subjected to throughout their lives. You grow up around, you know, your parents listen to a certain type of music, you're likely to like it. Or you're around kids more than your parents in school, then you start adapting to them and the way they dress and the things they're around. You watch TV all day, they're going to start acting like the characters in your favorite show or developing the same traits. That's how it works. It's how the brain, it's human nature. They've realized how to manipulate it and control it. And that's what they do to us through the media. They are trying to obviously, you know, herd us. And that's what they've done to everyone out there who's asleep. They're all part of the herd, going along with this stuff, not realizing that this isn't free thought and free will, that they're doing exactly what they want. And the next thing they want is for everyone to turn on Christians. And we already see it happening everywhere. Nobody likes Christian. I get messages, oh, Christian, oh, leave God out of these videos. Oh, who wants to hear about that? Oh, don't you realize that, you know, Christianity is the ultimate form of control, that the New World Order created Christianity, you know, as a way to control? No, actually, no. The only truth in this world is Jesus Christ. And the truth shall set you free. And when you wake up and you realize that, your mind becomes free. I thank you for listening to today's show. Stay away from garbage like this, these games. Don't let it pollute your mind. Realize that they're coming at you from all angles. They're always taking any opportunity they can to brainwash us. So be aware at all times. Try to always stay alert. Stay consciously thinking. Don't allow yourself to walk around asleep. Again, I thank you all. God bless you and your families.
I don't know if you guys have heard about the news coming out of Gaza, where the United States, Israel, the King of Jordan, and the President of Egypt, they had a meeting on what to do. And I've not actually confirmed anything yet, although I'm still doing my research on it. I've actually gotten a little bit of it. I've gotten my take on it already. But due to YouTube restrictions, I might not be able to say that here, but I'll post it on my Rumble channel. Just stay tuned on my Rumble channel.
Dressed mom threw her 6-year-old disabled son into a crocodile-infested river. This tragedy occurred after the mother had a heated argument with the boy's father, who repeatedly ordered her to throw the child away and allegedly questioned her decision to give birth to a child with a disability. The couple also has another son, aged 2, and is said to frequently fight about their older son's speech impediment. Police in India are calling this an official murder case. Both husband and wife have been arrested.
But I don't care, guys. I don't care. Why would a parent throw their child? Come on, man. Just because? Nah, man. That's cruel. That's crazy. That's unheard of. But a lot of things are happening in this world, man. Too much is happening. Too much is happening, guys. It's crazy. 100%. It's crazy.
Think you live in a free country? Think again.
Hey guys, something crazy just happened in London. It says here that Westfield Stratford shopping centre is evacuated after a suspicious package was found, and people were just, you know, running head to scatter. It's been hectic in London. I don't just know what is happening. This is from the Daily Mail. So shoppers were evacuated from the Westfield Stratford City in East London at around 10:15 a.m. this morning. So this actually happened this morning. So you can see, says hundreds of people are still inside the shopping centre. Be advised, if you're coming to Westfield, think again. The whole shopping centre is surrounded. I've been evacuated. I can see police taped up, stuff like that. I mean, what's happening? Everyone is just concerned about safety. So guys, I have a video of the incident. So let's watch it. By the way, this video was gotten from the Daily Mail. Some people are running, but not everyone is running. It doesn't sound or doesn't look that scary. The people don't look that scary. I don't know. Or what do you guys think? The people are not actually running like the way the news actually said it. I don't know. Everything still seems a little bit normal, and people are actually walking slowly. Doesn't seem like it's I think it's precautionary. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. So still going with the slideshows. We see a fire truck, a police car, just one police car, just one fire truck, and everyone just was still around the shopping mall. They are not actually running. They're just standing there. And these are the people who are actually evacuating. The videos that we actually saw, people are not actually running, because the headline, this is what the headline said. The headline says the Westfield Stratford shopping centre is evacuated after suspicious package found in it. So it doesn't really look like people are running. At first you think that this might be something very, very serious. Although I'm not saying it's not serious, it's still serious, but not the way, I don't think it's the way the news actually wanted us to, you know, perceive it. As usual, let me know your thoughts in the comment section.
Think you live in a free country? Think again.
YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site and false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets. And people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive.
They literally just tell you get knocked in your face.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time, but not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
Now to the divine intervention when a frightening incident unfolded at a church in Pennsylvania. Eva Pilgrim has that story for us. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, Robin. The church is a place where the doors are open to everyone. Well, Sunday, a man with a gun came through the doors of a Pennsylvania church. The pastor saying the gunman smiled at him before bringing the service to a stop. With what happened next?
This morning, the dramatic video from a church's live stream showing the moment Pastor Glenn Germany looked down the barrel of a gun. He says he's grateful to God to be alive.
He actually pulled the gun. And I went straight to the news and tell me that ain't fake.
At that point, I didn't have no time to think. It was just reaction. You know, ducking, trying to get out of the way of his
You're in a public area. Why are you
The
not
pastor
here?
says he had never seen before, interrupting Sunday sermon in North Braddock outside Pittsburgh. Pastor Germany says the man had come in and out of the church several times before making eye contact with him, standing up and pointing that gun at him.
He pulled the trigger, and a miracle of God happened that the gun got jammed. That
Of
only
course.
guy that name on it.
Clarence McCalliator putting his
This
life
is
on
the
the line
fakest story I've heard in a long
going
time.
into action and tackling the gun. I just jumped up.
There's like 3 or 4 people there. Seriously? Can you believe this stuff?
The deacon pulling the gun away.
I think that was an act of heroism, if I ever seen one.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. One of the things I do on this channel and have always done is look for patterns. And a pattern that I'm starting to see is that there are attacks occurring inside of churches. We're seeing
Which
people being
he's
attacked by
talked about
guns
for
supposedly in
years.
churches, and now we're
Stores,
seeing gunmen
churches,
showing up
public
to
events,
churches
sporting
where,
events,
of course,
and
the
they've all
beginning of the gun
happened.
didn't fire, and
It's
the
so
entire thing
easy to
looked
predict this
completely staged because, well, there was no real hustle around. The gunman literally was walking as if his feet were in quicksand, and somebody just jumped over and tackled him, and he didn't even put up a fight when he was armed, and the other guy wasn't armed. So the entire thing looks like it was potentially and possibly staged. As did, if you didn't see the video I did on it in the past, I did cover this event that happened in an Australian church. I had some people comment that they're followers of this guy's ministry. Well, all I can tell you is, look, some of these guys, I mean, they're showing you occult symbolism right to your faces, right? My eye is gone with the all-seeing eye. We see I lost my eye in the attack. And of course, in Australia, these attacks are being done with knives because they've already banned guns in Australia. And now they're putting in, believe it or not, stricter knife laws. That's right, stricter knife laws. You're not allowed to carry a knife. You're not allowed to carry a pocket knife. And it just continues on and on and on. And we never get to a point where we say, well, things are going to happen. You know, maybe we shouldn't glorify violence so much on the news and in these video games and in these movies. Then maybe people won't do monkey see, monkey do. But they like to pretend that people are influenced by the television and that they're not
Especially
influenced by
kids.
video
Yeah,
games. That's, of course,
children
all
and
crazy
all that
conspiracy fodder. But, you know, just like I've been saying recently, that's all conspiracy, right? People being influenced by movies and games and going and acting out these crimes. Yet whenever we see a crime in today's society, whenever we see a domestic murder or something along those lines, suddenly the guy kills his wife or the wife kills his husband and they know how to dismember a body. Where do you think they learned how to do that? Did they pick up a book from Jeffrey Dahmer? I mean, where did they pick up the knowledge on how to, well, of course they picked it up through all of these crime shows that they see every single day pushed down their throat. That tells you the best way to get rid of a body is to dismember a body. Now these people are actually committing these crimes and dismembering bodies, and nobody goes, hey, how come all of a sudden everybody out there is dismembering bodies? Well, that's how mind control works. They can condition you without you even realizing you're being conditioned. And I think that also ties in to these psyops, is these stories happening inside of churches. I think it's twofold. I think people out there see these stories. I think the more that they make God the enemy in the minds of everybody out there, which is what they're doing on a day-in-and-day-out basis, they're trying to make Christians look like the enemy to humanity, especially here in America. I think more and more people will see these types of things and act them out. We saw in Idaho, a man was arrested, supposedly, who had planned to go to a church. Of course, they had him affiliated with Hamas and ISIS, right? He had an affiliation to them, so of course he was targeting a church. So this also works in the left-right divide with these stories as well. But I think we're going to see more and more stories surrounding the church, and it's not to victimize Christians. Because Christians will never be victimized. Christians will always be the bully. Because Christians are the enemy of the globalist order. So they'll never allow Christians to be victimized. But what they will do is they will probably continue to plant seeds in people's minds that they should open an attack on a church. Because the church is our enemy, right? Now, on top of those things that we've seen, of course, this is a pattern, right? Seeing story after story after story. Seeing Ari Emanuel literally say my eye is gone after an attack where at first we were told that nothing was even wrong. And now he's wearing an eye patch, which couldn't be more obvious, right? And the eye just happens to be missing. And he's already back to work and back preaching. It's a little bit suspicious, is it not? Right? But again, people out there don't see how they show us this stuff right in front of our faces. The thumbnail speaks for itself with the all-seeing eye on it, right? So the other thing I think is going to come out of this, if you're saying, well, what? Okay, if they're doing this, what could they be doing it for? Is I think just like I've talked about in the past, when they create these events at schools, at malls, all these other places, right? When they create these events in places that you feel comfortable, it starts bringing about more laws and more restrictions. One of those things is what we're seeing in New York City, where they're bringing out new technology. And this new technology is gun scanners. We're going to have these types of things in pretty much every single place that we go. You're not going to be allowed, if you're not going to give up your right to bear arms, they're going to literally criminalize you if you carry a gun. Okay, so if you go inside of a subway and you have a gun, you're going to jail. So very likely, right? The scanner will go off, the police will escort you out of the subway. Eventually, this can happen in all these places that we're supposed to feel comfortable. And of course, we should still feel comfortable in these places. But more and more people are going to say, this happening too often at malls. This happening way too often at churches and synagogues. It's happening at all these places. We need more things in place. So your privacy will continue to get removed because that's ultimately what a surveillance state is, right? You don't have rights, and you certainly don't have privacy in a new world order, okay? So I think we're headed towards seeing more of this technology put in place at banks, at grocery stores, at malls, at concerts, at sporting events. And all it takes is a few psyops and false flags. Now, we can look at that initial story, and you can say, well, you know, maybe that really did happen. Maybe the guy really did do that. Well, it looks awfully staged. Does it not? That's two events that have occurred inside the church in the last 3 weeks. How often do we ever see stuff like this? Never. Right? You might say, well, people are more unhinged now than they've ever been. Well, it's very interesting to note that conveniently, these are all being, happening during live streams as well, which is another thing to keep in mind, right? What can be uploaded, what can't be uploaded, right? With people watching the live stream and suddenly they could have seen a murder take place, right? So we're going to need more restrictions in place, and maybe we'll need more restrictions in place in regards to these body scanners when you enter these buildings. Because, again, ultimately, this is all the stuff that's going to be implemented, okay? It's just a matter of desensitizing people enough, conditioning them enough into wanting it, and then coming out with it day after day, right? It's problem reaction solution. The subway's the perfect example. As we just touched on in our live interview with Mayor Adams, commuters are still worried about their safety on the subway. Now the mayor and the NYPD have announced a new gun scanner pilot program. This presenter Sif gives us a look at how these scanners work. Watch these would-be passengers and listen. Now look at why you heard that tone. NYPD officers wearing a gun on their waistband, putting a new system to the test. Mayor Eric Adams today giving New Yorkers the legally required 90 days notice that electromagnetic gun detectors like these are coming to the subway system.
We know the strategies that we put in place are not enough.
Even though subway crime is trending down now after a 46% spike in January, with a 15% drop in February and another 16% in March.
People must be safe.
Makes no
People
sense.
must feel safe when they're riding the subway.
The machine is off right now. It's designed to only look for a gun. So if I were to walk through with a metal microphone and metal contents like a phone in my bag, that wouldn't set off an alarm. You're coming in the tri addiction to a gun, so I think that's completely unacceptable. So I think it's a good idea.
Of course it is, New York.
Which scanner it will use
I'm
in
not
the
gonna
subway,
go out there
considering
that
a
have no
company called
rights.
Evolve.
When something goes wrong, I'm gonna be
schools around
done
the
for.
country, despite questions about how accurate the sensors
And how is
are.
that not a violation of rights?
Saying, simply put, gun detection systems are flawed and frequently trigger false alarms, which
Oh, there you go.
panic and create situations
I'm just
could
walking
result in
by,
loss of
I
life.
have
After the 90-day
something in my pocket.
evaluation,
Oh, you going to
began
jail?
a pilot program with the first gun detectors in a subway station this summer.
These
Andrew
are what people
Sims,
ask for,
New
though.
York.
They accept their
The
opinion.
crime in the subway is
So,
going
what's
through
common
in New York, and now we've seen it in Los Angeles. I covered what's happening in Los Angeles. Not many people saw that video, but it is up over here. They're putting in facial recognition scanners in the subway, and if they see somebody who's a criminal or a repeat offender, et cetera, well, the facial recognition will catch them, and the police will intervene before they can ride the metro. Does that sound like the kind of society we want to live in? People out there say yeah, because they go, they're sick of being afraid. But the only reason they're afraid is because the government's the one who's creating all of these psyops, making people afraid to leave their homes. So the government can come in and say, look, we got to do something about it. It's too out of control out there. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put facial recognition, and we're going to put full-on body scanners in every single location we possibly can. And if anybody's armed out in public, okay, this is going to go off, and we're going to have the police show up, and they're going to go to prison. So even if you have the right to carry, I'm sure that'll be removed along the way as well. Because you can almost guarantee that that's one of the laws that they will reverse, that they won't allow civilians to be armed. Now, red states like Texas will probably keep it, but the federal government will probably come in and try to legislate, the right to carry if you have, not just a criminal offense or something along those lines, but really just based on mental health. They'll say these people are online, they're talking about conspiracies, they shouldn't be allowed to hold go out in public with a gun, and everybody out there will agree, like you saw the woman in the clip. She's like, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea that we're doing this. No one should have a gun on a subway, right? But nobody should have privacy either, apparently, right? That's the solution, they tell us. But the government's the one letting the criminals out of prison, right? The government's the one, instead of stopping the criminals, all they're doing is just enhancing the surveillance state around us instead of actually stopping crimes. The government's answer is, well, we're not going to stop any of the crimes, but what we can do is we can put in facial recognition, we can put in full-on body scanners all around us. We can taser you if you enter any building and you have a gun on you, okay? That's what we'll do. We'll electrocute you. And everybody will just go, okay. So there's definitely a pattern here to watch in regards to where a lot of these events occur. And there is the mental health aspect as well, because the guy who went into that church in the clip you saw at the beginning, he said God told him to do it. And that's another theme I talked about over the years. Any one of these crimes that occur, when people start saying that God told them to do it, they're going to say, look, okay, at what point do we start saying that these people have mental health problems? They're talking to an invisible, they're talking to somebody who doesn't exist. They're saying that God's telling them to do this, and then they're going out doing that kind of stuff. That's going to lead to more mental health and criminalizing Christians in the future. People out there think it's a crazy stretch. It's not a stretch. Okay, this is the stuff that we're headed towards. If you understand how their New World Order works, there's no place for Christians in it, except of course for the lukewarm Christians who aren't really Christians in the first place, because they're going to go along with all these satanic agendas and just say, well, God loves everybody, right? The Bible doesn't say that God loves the devil, right? The Bible doesn't say that God loves these people down here who are sacrificing children. It doesn't say that, does it? No. And I don't think that those people are neighbors either. So keep an eye on these stories that we see more come out in regards to things happening in churches, and specifically, it's funny to watch these things when they come out as live streams because they just look so poorly produced. I mean, they look laughable. The guy walked up, he held the gun conveniently jammed, right? The guy kind of just jumped to the ground slowly. Then he jumped over the gate. And with he wasn't rushing. The guy all the way in the back was playing the piano, didn't even get up. And then somebody just gave him a loose bear hug around his arms. He didn't punch him, he didn't knock him out. I mean, you think if somebody had a gun, you might want to make sure that they're down and out, instead of just giving them like a soft little wrap up. So the entire story is suspicious. And the fact that it's even on Good Morning America, that's all we really should need to know, of course. Along with the Mari Emanuel story, which I know a lot of you want to believe is a real story. Maybe it is, but it's a little bit suspicious. Okay, it's a little bit suspicious, the whole thing with the eye. I mean, come on, really? Like, do you think you actually know the eye pastor? Maybe he ripped it out. Maybe you want to be like Penguin from Satanic Temple. Who knows? Anyway, thank everybody for being here. Hope God bless you as always in your families.
Faker than fake.
This is a call for an uprising. We welcome you to today's show, and as those of you who have not subscribed, so please subscribe to our YouTube channel as we continue to expose the satanic Illuminati agenda and the ushering in of the Antichrist. On this show, I've talked a lot about demonic possession, how it's on the rise worldwide. A lot of these events are occurring where people are becoming demonically possessed, specifically children at schools. We're seeing that going on around the world. We've seen it in India, we've seen it in South Africa. It's going on in America too. And when stories come out about demonic possession, they're always usually there to discredit it, and that's probably why this story is out. But the Satanists know, because they're clever and they obviously control everything, so they know how to pin people and how to push your emotions one way or the other, because they're controlling all of this and they're controlling the media. But when they release stories like this about psychiatrists, this psychiatrist, a very world-renowned psychiatrist named Dr. Richard Gallagher, came out in Washington Post and all these major publications picked up on the story where he said that there's a difference between somebody with mental problems and demonic possession. So he's admitting that demonic possession is real. He tells his story where he says, back in the 1980s, he was introduced to a woman who referred to herself as a witch, a satanic priestess, and even the queen of Satan. The doctor came to know the woman when he was asked by a Catholic priest to determine whether she was suffering from mental illness or demonic possession. At the time, Dr. Gallagher was a devout skeptic, despite being a practicing Catholic. According to the doctor, after examining the woman, he felt that she was actually the victim of demonic possession. He said that she exhibited symptoms that could not be explained by conventional means, including knowledge of the unknowable, knowing people's secret witnesses, knowing how strangers had died, and even speaking unfamiliar languages. The doctor said he could only describe her affliction as paranormal, namely demonic possession. So this doctor came out, and I mean, if he knew about this in the 80s, he talked about it in the 80s, but he's never come out publicly. Now it's out publicly, and I think they do stuff like this in response to stories leaking about demonic possession going on around the world. Stories have come out with this movie, The Conjuring, where people are becoming demonically possessed from watching the film, because there's attachments to the film. They actually do real rituals in the film. So they'll release stories like this. Well, they'll say, well, there could be a thing as demonic possession, because they have to play both sides. But of course they discredit it. So they go through this article, and then they show tweets from people out there. So it says the doctor's partnership with the priest would ultimately span more than 2 decades and hundreds of consults. The psychiatrist in question was given a highly specialized and unique job to filter cases of mental illness from cases of legitimate demonic possession. And then they show, the Washington Post says the psychiatrist is I diagnose mental illness. Also, I help spot demonic possession. Somebody replies and says, how is this guy even board certified? Then they have somebody else who says, we are not dealing here with purely material reality, but with spiritual realm, because that's what the doctor says. And the guy says, time to see a psychiatrist. So they use this. This is how they play with people's emotions. They talk about this article. They say that it's credible that demonic possession is real, and we know people listen to this channel. We know demonic possession is real. We know it through Scripture. Okay, we know that Jesus Christ was casting demons out of people who were demonically possessed. The Bible tells us this. It's hidden from us. They classify these things as mental illnesses to hide the truth from people. So they think that the Bible's fiction. They don't think any of this is real. That's why it's so fictionalized in the movies. They use the movies to fictionalize it to people and make it seem like make-believe. But they're also using the movies to actually do rituals on the audience that's watching it, because they are performing real rituals and actually using real demons and stuff like that. So they have people in the article, of course, discrediting their own articles. The article's talking about demonic possession being real. The name of the article is Demonic Possession. One psychiatrist says it's real and on the rise in the U.S. And there's many articles on it. Like I said, the Washington Post picked up on it. And then, of course, throughout the article, they're showing tweets from other people who are cracking jokes saying, how's this guy board certified? All of this stuff to discredit the truth. And that's how they obviously operate. They go on to talk about the Vatican. Now, the Vatican doesn't officially track exorcism in any way. Of course, the Vatican doesn't track exorcism, or the Vatican doesn't track demonic possession, because they're all there practicing Satanism underneath the church or in plain sight at the Vatican. So of course they don't track it. Of course they don't acknowledge it as real. They don't make mention of it. They look at it like it's the movie The Exorcist. They try to make it off like it's fake. And then we have other guys around the United States who actually perform exorcists, and more reverends and ministers are coming forward talking about how how they're doing this. So one guy says he gets 20 requests a week to do exorcisms, which is twice what it once was. So it's on the rise, and we're seeing it around the world, and they're actually acknowledging it, not just in this article, in many articles that came out in the last few weeks, with this Dr. Gallagher acknowledging it's something that could be real because they have to address these things when all these stories come out. When there's a pandemic going on around the world where, 100 students all get hospitalized, they all have seizures, they're all foaming at the mouth, and so speaking in tongues, they start seeing that people are picking up on the stories. They have to do something and say, oh, well, it could be real because this doctor says so. But of course, in the article, like I said, they discredit the doctor, make him look like a lunatic, where they have, post people's tweets making fun of it and mocking it. But by showing this, they're at least giving knowledge to it, and that's how the mind control works. By hinting at it that it could be real or it couldn't be real, because they have to at least give you opposition to the theories, right? If they never talked about demonic possession, and more and more people are starting to question it, and you'd say, why are they hiding it? Why aren't they admitting it? So you have some people coming forward, but it is a real serious issue. It needs to be addressed because demonic possession is on the rise, and that's through all of these sources of forms of media. It's because we're under spiritual attack, we're in a spiritual warfare. But they're using these films like The Conjuring, and there's another one coming out in a few days or a few weeks. Another movie. It's like the same exact movie coming out. I'm not even sure what it's called. Let me look real quick. It's called Lights Out. It's another one of these. The Conjuring just came out a few weeks ago. They have Neon Demon, you have The Conjuring, you have Lights Out. Every single month, these films come out that talk about demonic possession. They're telling you it's real. They're fictionalizing it, but they're also using these films as spiritual warfare because they're actually using real recordings in these movies. The Conjuring 2 used real recordings of the actual demonic possession. And people in the audience, one guy reportedly died watching the film, went into a seizure. I mean, real stuff is going on around the world. These stories aren't going to make mainstream news. Of course they're not. And people are going to discredit it because it's not on national news. And that's the only thing people want to believe is anything that's on national news is truth. But anything else that comes out, they go, oh, the internet, somebody made up the story or some crazy website. You can't trust that. But they trust CNN, they trust NBC, and that's how this mind control works. But it's not a coincidence that these movies come out every single 3 to 4 weeks. So then you got Lights Out coming out. You had The Witch this year, you had The Conjuring, you have Lights Out. I'm sure there's so many others. I talked about a movie I exposed. It's called Satanic. I mean, all of this stuff showing demonic possession is real. You have all the paranormal activity movies. I mean, there are thousands of movies on this one subject, and people don't connect the dots. They just go, well, it's an interesting subject. It makes money. People want to see. And they could tell you whatever they want, and it would make money. They could promote the stupidest concept of a movie. They could have a movie about a guy who eats garbage for 3 hours, and they could say it's starring George Clooney, and it's really, really amazing. And they could convince everybody that it's amazing, and everybody would go see it. And they'd be like, did I just watch George Clooney eat out of the garbage can for 3 hours and just talk? Oh, that was wonderful. How artistic. Because the media tells you it's artistic. Okay, they can come up with ideas for new movies. There's a reason that they're all the same. Because it's all part of the conditioning that they have us under. That's why there's, you don't see these slasher films as much anymore. You see these demonic possession films because they've moved on from that. Because that was the beginning of getting people prepared for what's going on. They started with testing it out with Michael Myers and Nightmare on Elm Street and all this stuff. And now it's more geared towards demonic possession, exorcism, showing you what's really going on because they know that the conditioning works and they're using the conditioning on people. And people can't look at it from the other perspective and say, why are they constantly showing me demonic possession? Why is it in every movie that comes out? Why are they showing me people floating and levitating and being possessed by demons? Why? Oh, because it makes money. Like I said, they could tell you any movie with the most ridiculous plot and promote it down your throat, and people will say it's good if the television tells them it's good because they can't formulate their own opinion. So this is just more about demonic possession. I wanted to point out because it is on the rise, and people need to be aware of this. That's why it's so important to stay strong in your faith and stay strong in the scriptures because we are under spiritual attack. We are in spiritual warfare, and a lot of Christians out there are a part of this matrix that we live in. They're not in the spiritual battle. They're not a part of it. They just go to church. They don't read their Bible. They refuse to acknowledge truths in the Bible like demonic possession, like the spiritual battle, and they think that the Bible is just about loving everybody and accepting everything. That's how the media has tricked them and duped them and created these lukewarm Christians that we have out there. So be aware that this spiritual battle is real. Spiritual warfare is going on. Demonic possession is on the rise. That's why it's important. Now you're protected if you have the Holy Spirit with you. Okay, but there's other people around you that might not be protected in your home, or you have to constantly stay in prayer. You have to try to guide people to Christ because that's what matters most is getting people to Christ. But it's important to be aware of what's going on around you because demonic possession is on the rise. Okay, we are in spiritual battle and in spiritual warfare, and they're even acknowledging it. But of course, like I said, when they acknowledge stuff like this, they just do it to give you the other perspective, and then they discredit it on their own. They discredit it because they make either the headline of the story sound ridiculous, so that people roll their eyes and say it's not real, and then they link it up to, well, the psychiatrist says demonic possession is real, like the movie The Conjuring or The Exorcist, and then people go, oh yeah, give me a break, flying people around, wouldn't they be all out in public exposed? Because nobody's brain can process it. They can only process what they're told, and then they regurgitate what they're told when they go to work, or they go out to a bar, or they go out to a club, or they go out somewhere and talk to somebody else. They just regurgitate the same nonsense that the television tells them, which is all lies, all fabricated. None of it is the truth. It's all staged. That's why we are inside of this matrix, and it's important to wake people up and help save souls and guide them back to our Father in heaven. So thank you for listening to today's show. Stay strong in your scriptures. Be aware that the spiritual warfare is real. It's a spiritual battle. Remember Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Always remember that. Thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.
This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. A subscriber over on the website by the name of ADR, who's another one of the great subscribers over on the website, who share a lot of information that I wouldn't see unless they shared it with me. Shared this article with me, and we're going to go into detail about it, because this is what I've been warning about for years and years and years. Everybody who doesn't understand how the climate agenda works should just look no further than what just happened a couple years ago, because they literally go hand in hand. It was literally a test run for what's coming with the carbon footprint. And this was shared with me about what's going on in Germany. In Germany, they're starting to threaten that there's going to be weekend driving bans. That's right. German transport minister warns of weekend driving bans and actually has the authority, as I'll show you in this video clip, to potentially do this. If, of course, the district is underperforming and they're not living up to what they're supposed to be doing, they apparently have the authority to ban human beings from getting in their cars and leaving their homes. Sounds a lot like being a prisoner, right? Well, this is what's coming to every country. This is what's coming from the carbon footprint that they keep telling you about. Tracking emissions, which keeps going in one ear, out the other ear for most of these people out there. They don't get it, right? But I tell people to take a step back and just think about the stuff that they did to you a couple years ago. Because it's going to be the same thing, just worse, right? They were seeing how many people were compliant in a lot of different ways. But one of the things was how many people actually stayed locked down. How many people obeyed a curfew. How many people stayed indoors during certain windows where they told you everything was shut down. Right? Because ultimately, It was preparing you for this. This is what they have in mind, making you a prisoner. And again, while you look at it, look at the flip side. You look at this whole driving ban, what they're talking about, the threat of you, if you don't change your behavior, we'll force you to change your behavior. And of course, the behavior is, look, we want you to get used to living as a prisoner in your home. And people out there go, I don't know, it's not really the worst thing in the world. I don't like people anymore because of their politics, done by design. I don't want to go outside anymore. I'm afraid to get sick, done by design. And of course, I'll be helping people out if I don't leave the house because of my carbon footprint, done by design. You know what else was done by design? Putting all these smart devices in your home so that they can monitor and track you 24/7, because that's what the NSA does. For anyone out there that's wondering what the NSA does in America, okay? Please let me know what you think they do if you're a zombie. Yeah, please let me know. What do you think they're doing? You think they're listening to phone calls going on over in Afghanistan? Is that what they're doing? Right? Oh, no. They're listening to us, right? And they want to see and make sure that nothing's forming that could be a threat to them, like a bunch of civilians getting together and stopping this from happening, right? That's pretty much what they're listening for. Now, most people go, well, that's not me. I'm not going to do anything like that. Yeah. But as more rules come into play, and this starts turning more into China, if you're even talking at the kitchen table to your wife, your girlfriend, or whoever, and you're sitting there and you say, I don't like what the government's doing. Well, guess what? Your power is going to go off because who controls your power? Who's controlling that smart meter? Who's controlling that smart meter on your house or that smart thermostat? Okay? And people go, that's never going to happen. Oh, it is going to happen. It is, because the more we give them control, the more control they're going to take, and then, of course, the more authority they're going to rein in over us, especially if we actually have the audacity to speak freely and question a bunch of psychopathic tyrants. Let me show you a clip from Germany, okay? They're talking about this transport minister warning of weekend driving bans for citizens.
Germany's transport minister is receiving backlash after threatening to impose a weekend driving ban this summer. Volker Wissing said such a ban could help Germany meet its proposed emission quotas under the Climate Protection Act as the country seeks to cut its emissions to net zero by 2045. Since September 2023, the country's coalition of the Social Democrats, Greens, and Free Democratic parties have been in talks to reach an agreement on passing climate reforms and adding an amendment to the emissions reduction law by mid-July. However, they haven't struck a deal yet. Germany's Environmental Protection Agency reported the country lowered its greenhouse gases by more than 10% in 2023, to the lowest in 70 years. However, Wissing said it's not enough to meet the nation's targets. And according to the climate protection law, any ministry overseeing a sector that is underperforming, such as transportation, must initiate a program to get the sector back on track. So far, Wissing has not implemented any kind of program, since making changes to transportation impacts people's everyday lives, and he says it cannot be rushed into. Wissing said if the coalition can't compromise on an amendment by mid-July, he would have to impose a 2-day-a-week personal driving ban. Some lawmakers and politicians accuse Wissing of scaremongering. Germany's Greens party said Wissing was guilty of stirring up fears, writing a letter to the minister suggesting he make more sensible climate suggestions. However, Wissing defended his stance on public radio, saying, I told the citizens the truth. You can only save large amounts of pollution by giving up cars and trucks. Those like Greenpeace and the Greens, who always say that the climate protection law must remain as it is, may now be frightened by the consequences of their policies.
Okay, and that's just the beginning. A weekend driving ban is just the beginning. Okay, we've seen stories, and I'll show you some more stuff on the carbon footprint here, but we've seen stories of what? Well, we've seen stories in China of people who weren't allowed to travel with travel plans with their families, and they went to the airport, and of course everything's digital, so when they went to have their passport scanned and their ticket scanned, it was rejected. Why was it rejected? Well, because that person was not behaving the way the government liked. They actually started seeing some signs and patterns that he was reading things that might have been anti-government propaganda on the internet. And they said, hey, or had a magazine maybe that he found. So they were just, didn't like how he was behaving, so they didn't allow him to travel, right? Now, this all starts this way, where they tell you that, well, first it'll be, do what you can. Right? This is what we've seen going on. Well, the government wants you to turn your power off on Fridays. And we'll see who does it and who doesn't, right? And only the suckers obviously do it, because these suckers don't have a clue about anything, and they just trust the television and the government, even though they've done nothing but prove to us that they can't be trusted. So they'll shut it off when they're told to shut it off. And then they'll obviously, just like 1984, right for the government, right out of their playbook, will rat you in. They'll say, my neighbor didn't turn their electricity off. Well, eventually, there's not going to be a system of ratting anyone out, because if everything's going through technology and Amazon and the corporations, et cetera, all these devices, well, they don't need you to rat them out, because they're just going to do it themselves. Every Friday at 7 till 7 a.m., 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., lights off, right? And they go, oh, okay, what's the big deal? 7 to 7, lights off, right? And then it goes from 1 day to 3 days. And then it goes from 3 days to 5 and 5 to 7. And then suddenly somebody goes, hey, I remember seeing in a movie like Shawshank Redemption or something like that. Didn't they, in a prison, I've never been to jail, but don't they, say lights out? They go, lights out! And they shut the lights off and everyone has to go to bed in prison? Yeah, that's exactly. We're kind of living like that now in our houses. Yeah, you think? You think? Oh, and it's all because their carbon footprint, right? So for anybody out there that doesn't understand carbon footprint, carbon tracking, they've been conditioning you with a lot of these wearable devices like the Fitbit, etc., so that you're comfortable with your steps being tracked, which is insanity to me that people out there just have given into this stuff. They're like, I've got a Fitbit on, I'm tracking my heart rate, right? Getting that technology closer and closer to being in you, right? So they've been doing that, but the carbon footprint is the reason for it. Not because they care about how many calories you burn. They're conditioning you into getting this technology, which is wearable now, into your body, of course. But this is to monitor and track your every movement, because ultimately the tax and the burden on your life is going to be carbon. And you're the carbon that they're trying to stop, right? Not the tanks or the towers or the planes. What they want to stop is you. And the only way to do that, of course, is for you to lock yourself in your home with no electricity. Because, again, they want us all in prison. And the mindset people need to have is, well, there's not enough jails out there. Right? So we've turned our homes into prisons. But here's just a look at the carbon footprint for anybody out there that's trying to figure out what it is.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's, where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
You know you should probably reduce it, but what exactly is your carbon footprint? The carbon footprint refers to the total amount of greenhouse gases released into the Earth's atmosphere as a result of the activities of an individual or an organisation. Remember, greenhouse gases trap heat inside the atmosphere, and that's overheating the planet. So if you want to work out your own carbon footprint, you need to know the amount of greenhouse gases, like carbon dioxide, you're responsible for creating. It's a difficult thing to measure precisely, and there are different definitions about how best to calculate it. But roughly speaking, there's the direct impact of using energy when we travel or to power our homes, and there's the indirect impact of the energy that's used to create all the things we use or consume. In the developed world in particular, transport is a big part of your carbon footprint. Cutting down on the use of petrol or diesel cars and taking fewer flights is one of the most effective ways of reducing it. The place you live also contributes to your personal footprint. It's important to make sure your home is heated or cooled efficiently and is well insulated. The more you can use sustainable energy like solar or wind power, the more you cut your emissions. The stuff you use at home also adds to the problem. All that plastic, metal and cardboard takes a lot of energy to produce and dispose of. So recycling can help reducing your carbon footprint, but not as much as how you travel or heat and cool your home. Then there's your diet. Above all, red meat makes your carbon footprint bigger because cows produce so much methane, another greenhouse gas, and huge numbers of trees are cut down to create pastures on which cattle can graze. In the developing world, polluting stoves are a real problem too, so it's important to try to replace them with more efficient methods of cooking. But overall, people in poorer countries produce far smaller amounts of greenhouse gases than people in richer countries do. So, if you look at just what a country produces, the average amount of carbon dioxide emissions per person in the United States is about 16.1 tonnes per year. In China, it's 7.1 tonnes, and in the UK, it's about 5.5 tonnes. But in the Democratic Republic of Congo, it's only 0.03 tonnes. while in Qatar, which has a really small population but produces so much oil and gas, it's 38.6 tons. Now, that's just production. It doesn't take account of all the other things we've talked about, how much you consume. But obviously, the more money you have, the more you tend to consume. So if people in richer countries really want to reduce their carbon footprint, they need to make huge changes in their lifestyles. It can be done, and new technologies to make things greener are coming on stream all the time. But it is a reminder that the declared aim in many countries of going carbon neutral by the middle of this century means a revolution in the way we live.
And ultimately, that's the plan, right? So let's take a look again at Germany. Germany's transport minister has warned that driving will have to be banned on the weekends unless the country's net zero laws are changed, right? And we're supposed to take these people at their word because, again, remember, when they put the word science in there, right, there's no denying science, and there's no denying the people that you don't know who are telling you it's science, right? Scientists, you don't know, but they're telling us this. You might as well just call them warlocks. Right, they're the ones telling us this. It's like, during the outbreak, you weren't allowed to question anything. You don't know what you're talking about. You're reading ingredient lists? How dare you? You don't know what you're talking about, right? And of course, we were all right, but still, because of narcissism, a lot of people out there refuse to believe that and are so stubborn that they'll still go and poison themselves. But anyway, so the party wants the law amended so the polluting transport sector can miss carbon emissions reduction targets as long as Germany as a whole reaches them. But the change is opposed by the Greens, who are part of a three-way coalition with the pro-business FDP and the Social Democrats, again, who are, I feel like these people are like gimps. You know the gimp in Pulp Fiction I mentioned recently with the Satanic Temple, the gimp in Pulp Fiction, the thing with the mask, right? Is this what these Democrats are? Right? They're just submissive. Like, they like this stuff. Like, they like being locked up. They like taking orders. I mean, it's pretty embarrassing. It really is. I mean, it's a political party that's convinced their communist party, who won't question their party at all because they've been trained not to, that the best thing for them to do is to live in fear of every single thing, every single cough, every single person who disagrees with them, right? Because, of course, you can't have disagreements. You have to just silence the opposing party. And these people just love it. And they continue to go along, and none of them just go, hey, I don't know what's going on anymore with my political party. I like the party because, they were talking nice about LGBT. I liked them because they were talking about Myra. But I don't know. It's getting a little weird, It's getting a little much. They're telling me not to leave the house. They're telling me not to talk to people. They're telling me to cancel out other people's speech. Yeah, it's called communism, right? So in Germany, they're going back and forth about doing this. Okay, and according to the current climate protection law, the ministry responsible for underperforming sectors must launch an immediate program to put them back on track. So, problem, reaction, solution, right? They just make up a problem, right? People react, and they go, I don't know what's going on, right? And they go, well, the solution is we're going to keep you indoors on your weekend. So you're going to go to work Monday to Friday, then on the weekend you're going to stay locked up in your house. But don't worry. We'll have an Uber delivery driver deliver you something for $50 a delivery, or we'll have an Amazon drone deliver it to your home. But you stay inside. You got your TV. Okay, make sure you tune in to our propaganda. Okay, make sure you turn that on, and then play some video games and dumb yourself down more, and go back to work on Monday. Okay, and be happy, right? Smile while we murder you. Smile while we taser your nuts. Okay, just keep smiling and pretending that this is a Stepford wife dystopia, because that's what it's turning into. Right? That's what it's turning into. It's government overreach on steroids. And of course, so how convenient it all is that the government's the one who's creating the problem, which doesn't really exist in the first place, right? They tell you about all this stuff about the climate. These guys fly all over the place. They don't expect you to say, oh, Bill Gates is a private plane. They didn't expect anyone out there to actually say some of this stuff. So now they come out and they go, yeah, but, I have to fly here. John Kerry has to fly here and do this stuff. Oh, okay, but this is the most important issue in the world, right? But you have to fly. They can't do it on Zoom. No, we have to go. Okay, but in return, we're going to donate millions of dollars to charities about climate change. And we're going to put vacuums in the air to suck the carbon out. We're going to put it underground so we can plant farm under there when we destroy the Earth's surface. That makes sense? Yeah, sure, thanks. They didn't expect you to ask questions about their carbon footprint. So, of course, they already have an answer built in, like I covered in that Bill Gates video. Oh, they're just telling you how charitable they are, which again is part of all the teachings of Freemasonry and secret societies, is to be a philanthropist out in the open. Because when you're a philanthropist, they just look at you and they go, well, what have you done? This is what I do with my money. What do you do? Well, we struggle to buy eggs in our home. What do you do? Oh, well, I give millions of dollars of your tax money that goes into my pocket into suffocating you with a carbon vacuum. Oh, sounds great. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, John Kerry. Right? So this is what's going on. Okay? More of these things are going to start passing. More of the government overreach is going to start occurring because they're pretending like the youth out there. The youth are under full mind control. They don't have a clue. Okay? And it's not necessarily their fault. They build these kids up. These kids are on social media at 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old, right? That automatically starts turning people into narcissists. It's the truth. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's the truth. Those are all narcissistic tendencies if you just look at basic social media. Posting your dinner, posting your nails getting done, posting your thoughts, it creates a narcissist, okay? You might not realize it. Most narcissists don't think they're narcissists, okay? So they're building that up. And then these kids are getting fed nothing but propaganda. And they don't want to believe that they're being lied to because they're getting built up by the same government. And they're being trained to think that we're all nuts. So these kids, these young people, and even the millennials out there, we can look at people the age of the majority of us who are older, and we can say the same thing. We know people our age who are just completely, and they refuse to believe they were lied to through their schooling system, right? They're prideful about it. Even though most of us were tricked and duped, and we realized, okay, we wasted our time, we wasted our lives with this stuff, going through the school system, but at least we're not going to go to our grave being completely stupid and submissive to a tyrannical government, right? These people just don't want to believe it. So back to the youth out there, you can see the movement going on where all these kids are becoming more and more climate activists, which is part of the Greta Thunberg psyop. They continue to go around protest. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just repeating stuff that they think is scientific facts, right? It's just make-believe data. They're just repeating it. And they've been trained to dismiss us as all tinfoil hat wearers because that's the biggest thing the government's been doing for the last 5 years is just making sure anybody who questions it's a tinfoil hat wearer, they're dangerous. That's why they created Q, et cetera, et cetera. So these kids don't understand, right? Now they're looking at it and they're going, look, the kids out there want us to do something. We're just going to have to do it. And everyone else out there is going to have to deal with it. And that's what they're going to do. And the youth's going to cheer for it because they're the dumbest of them all. And it's not making fun of them. It's not a shot on them. It's not fair what's going on with the youth. That's why I continue to do this on YouTube, because there's a lot of youth on here and they find my channel. It's not fair. No one's calling you dumb. Come out of her and realize it. No one's saying, okay, they're making you this way. Believe in lies. We've all been there. We all were completely asleep. And now it's time to wake up. Okay? This is a tyrannical government, left and right, working together to destroy and ruin our lives. And that's why they have us divided. That's why they have us down each other's throats, because we're not looking at the true enemy here, which is both parties who are completely compromised members of the same secret societies. The climate agenda is global enslavement, and it's coming. It starts with little things like this. It starts with you just nicely shutting off your electricity on a Friday night. And eventually it turns into just what you saw. Roadblocks, signs up, stay inside, and it becomes a crime if you leave. And especially, if you try to sneak out or you go out past curfew, if you don't obey, okay, you're going to serve hard times in an actual cell. And people go, well, I'd rather just be home in my house with my stuff than go to a jail cell. And that's what the government's ultimately going to do, all in the name of the boogeyman that they've created using weaponized weather. I thank you for being here. Hope you're all well. God bless you and your families as always.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Thank you all for subscribing to the new channel. Again, this is where my new content is going to be here on YouTube for the time being, unless, of course, they take the restrictions away from my other channels. So let's build this channel out and let's continue exposing what's going on in the world, the real things going on in the world, not the fake crap that they constantly are shoving down our throats, which they don't want us questioning, which is why channels like mine continue to get shut down or demonetized and get strikes for no reason. They don't want people waking up. That being said, there's a few things in the news I want to discuss here. Obviously, I've talked about C19. I can't talk about that here on YouTube anymore. That's one of the things I'm not doing. So I talk about that over on the website. There's 2 new strands of it. Absolutely ridiculous. So if you want to see that content, go over there. And one of the things I brought up again over there, and I'm bringing up here, is that military has been deployed in all of the states here in America. And it's important that people are aware of this, because any type of event that occurs on inauguration day, they will deploy martial law. Maybe it will only be in that specific city, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's multiple things that are created again by them that would force them to do what they want. Because again, it's not force. This is them tricking people into wanting this. Like I said from the get-go, they are making people want martial law. They're making people want to take away people's rights to free speech, because everybody's a soft cupcake and it's hate speech now. No one can defend themselves. But when it comes to what other people say, like, people people with difference of opinion, as long as it fills into the Antichrist narrative, the love, nonsensical garbage that they spew, especially here on YouTube, then everybody's all for it, and there's no censorship for them. It's hypocritical. It's a joke. But with martial law deployed, free speech is gone, the right to assemble is gone, the right to bear arms is gone, and you're in a military state. I've talked about it years past. Celebrities have been socially engineering people to want martial law, from that Rosie O'Donnell. I was going to say something about her appearance, but I won't. And all these other people in these liberal mainstream social media or social engineers have been getting people to want martial law and ask for it. So if this does go down this week, like a lot of us think it will, some type of event, I mean, they're hinting way too much at it. It would really make no sense unless they just want to do it as another censorship pull or to make us look like we're crazy. But the simple fact is they're deploying National Guard all around the country, and everyone should be aware of it. If something happens, understand who's behind it. It's from within. And if something doesn't happen, then it's just another way to prepare people to get used to this, and to get used to, seeing the military outside their state capitals, to literally making this country look like a movie, a military state movie. You got the barbed wire fence around the White House. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, it really, truly is. So I wanted to bring that up just so people are aware if you aren't aware. And before I get into something that you guys have to see, which is ridiculous, one other thing as far as the military goes, I covered this today on my website. And I'm just going to show a clip here because I couldn't stop laughing when I saw this. When all this stuff happened at Capitol Hill, I did a video that day. And the next day, the first thing I said was that it was comical because these people were hanging off walls like Spider-Man, literally, like just climbing walls, hanging. And I said, this is obviously a military operation. They literally are coming out now saying that the people who were, heading the charge and doing this stuff were ex-military veterans with military training, with special forces training. And they just all decided to form a militia together, which is, and they're saying how extreme it is and how it's worse. This is more scarier than Al-Qaeda and all that kind of stuff. It's unbelievable because they literally, once again, created an event, and they look like buffoons because of the way the things that people were doing. These aren't normal people. Don't just show up, climb walls like that, jump off. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that these people didn't have military training. And that's what I was talking about when it first happened. And now they're coming out talking about it. So, I mean, you can't make some of this stuff up, can you? I mean, they're pretty much admitting that the military had involvement, but they're saying, oh, these were just like refugees. These guys went rogue on their own. Uh-huh. Tell me more. Give me a break. Another thing I wanted to discuss here, because it has to be discussed, amongst all of this nonsense going on, right? And I think we all could feel pretty uneasy that something's going to go down soon. This story has literally just come out. We aren't even going to believe this. Take a guess who owns the largest amount of farmland in the United States of America. Take one guess. Yeah, you might not have guessed right, but guess again. Here he is. Ready? Bill Gates. Bill Gates owns the largest portion of farmland in America, specifically in Arkansas. Now you might say, well, Arkansas, because that's what I said. Well, what's normally farmed in Arkansas, right? Because different states farm different things based on the agriculture and the weather and stuff like that. Arkansas is a major producer of crops. Besides being the largest producer of rice in the U.S., it's a major producer of soybeans, right? As well as corn and a few other things. So you get your high fructose corn syrup, which makes everyone fat and sick. But of course you get soy, because what have I been talking about? With these, these not real meat foods filled with soy, so much soy, it's unbelievable. That there's actually stories about men growing breasts and things like that. So what a surprise. And of all the people who would own the most farmland, it makes perfect sense that it would be the guy who founded Microsoft. The same guy who is at the head of the movement to get people jabbed. The same guy whose father was one of the founders of Planned Parenthood. Control the food, control the vax, Planned Parenthood, microchip technology. Boy, none of these are suspicious things. This is just a really talented guy. He's all over the map. What's next? Is the CEO of PepsiCo going to suddenly be the next Martha Stewart and, make linen sheets? I mean, boy, this guy's got talent. Boy. So he owns all the farmland, which is frightening. This is frightening. Bill and Melinda Gates are taking on the new title of the biggest farmland owners in the U.S., with a good chunk of that ownership being in Arkansas. The Gates family has a total of 242,000 acres in the United States. Do you know how many acres that is? For those of you that don't know acreage, a normal house at a development is on 1 acre, if that. That's if you have a little bit of room between the houses. The way they're making houses now, most people's houses are on 0.5 of an acre. 242,000 acres. Gates owns 47,927 of those acres in Arkansas, which is 17.8% of the family's total land holdings. The report, though, did not specify the total amount was completely farmland. Arkansas ranks second in the U.S. as far as farmland goes, with Louisiana reportedly seeing the family owning 70,000 acres of land there. I mean, can you make this stuff up? I mean, all the stuff we always talk about, they call us crazy conspiracy nuts, is controlling the resources. And, I mean, think about these people. Why would they not want to control? I wouldn't want to control the resources because I'm not a scumbag and I'm not, trying to poison the world. But when these people control the farmland, which means they control what's going into the food, which means if this guy's controlling the soy, he's just shoving soy in every product, is what this country is doing and the FDA is doing. And he's at the face, he is literally the face of the jab movement that's going on in this country. And on top of it, the guy is the microchip technology, and he's the face of the soy burger. I mean, can you make this stuff up? You can't. You can't script it. And nobody questions it, and nobody says boo. They just follow protocol like the zombies that they are. So those are just some stories I wanted to talk about. I'm interested in seeing your take on the fact that Bill Gates owns the most farmland in America, and you can see how into it he is and invested in this. Guy's got a lot of time. I don't know if he's got a lot of clones, or it must be all that adrenochrome he's getting. He must not sleep much, because this guy is, you can't make it up. I mean, you just can't. You can't. So while he's getting ready to inject the nation, while he's getting ready to microchip the nation, while he's getting ready to soy up the nation, he is also gathering as much land as possible to use as farmland. And we're supposed to believe we're overpopulated, by the way. Wink, wink. And on top of that, his father is famous and rich for starting Planned Parenthood. Can't be an occultist. Can't be a Satanist. No way, no how. That wouldn't make any sense, now would it? Please. If people only ask questions and put one and one together. I mean, put one and one together. Put two and one together. Simple math. Use common sense here. This is America in 2021. What's next? I mean, are we going to... I don't even know. I don't even know what can compare to this. When I saw this article, I just laughed because I was like, this is just so surreal. They don't even care anymore. They're not hiding any of it anymore because they know that nobody cares at this point. And that's how they're allowed to get away with this stuff, allowed to censor, allowed to take away free speech, creating psyops all over the place. Amazing. So I remind everyone, please check out the website at callforuprising.com if you haven't already. Please consider becoming a member. It's well worth it for $2.99. I want to thank the Patreons. Because of you, it keeps me going here on YouTube. I want to thank everyone who came over here. Again, if you haven't seen the Teespring store, check it out as well. It's another way you could help raise awareness about this channel and help this channel out. That's kind of just a way to market it at this point because, again, they silence all of us on here from waking people up. That's their goal. They don't want more people to wake up. So we got to keep trying and plugging away. I thank you all again for being here. God bless you and your families.
A show, so much money. It's one of my favorite things about human beings. Starvation, poverty, disease. You could fix all that just with money. And you don't. I mean, if you took just a little bit of time off the vanity voyages, pleasure cruising, billionaire space race, hell, you stop making movies and TV for 1 year and you spend that money on what you really need, you could solve it all with some despair. But
Well, after seeing this, I actually made a video today discussing same thing, but it's just that this video has just one part the Met Gala and one part what we see happening in the Middle East, and everyone in this Met Gala stuff if you tell an alien that this is how our world is, they will tell you that everything must be going perfectly in your world because everything was perfect at the Met Gala, a charity event. And this charity, we might ask, where does this charity go? Well, it goes to the Metropolitan Art Museum to make the art look, to make the art look nice. Well, that's what it's for, and that's what they actually tell us. But the truth is staring us in the face. They pay $75,000, and for a table, maybe over $300,000. An advertisement, more $1 million. They make more money than the Super Bowl, and we can't actually feed the hungry. We can't stop hunger. Hunger is still number one. Killing one stuff that kills people is not even a disease. It's something that can be solved. But this is what we choose to air. This is what we choose to show. Because of this one makes the whole world look nice. It makes the world look like there is no problem. It makes the world seem better than it actually is. And it makes these people you are all seeing look like good people you should listen to, you should look up to. Is that really the case? The fact that the whole news media actually stopped for this is crazy, guys. It's just crazy at another level. The world has gone mad.
Think you live in a free country? Think again.
This 18-year-old girl from Ventura County driving an Infiniti G37, or as police are now alleging, a deadly weapon, was chased by cops at over 100 miles per hour after also crashing into cops, before being taken into custody by cops in a dead end after she took a wrong turn, in a pursuit that ironically started as a speeding violation. CHP officers were notified of a pursuit coming into the Ventura area from Santa Barbara County just before 9 p.m. Saturday. The driver at the wheel is alleged to be Felicity Hughes of Camarillo. She eventually exited the freeway and went towards Auto Drive Mall before she turned down a dead-end road onto a private lot. She then made a U-turn and hit the gas before striking a patrol vehicle, leaving that cop car undrivable and an officer with minor injuries. She was then taken into custody without further incident. Hughes was charged with evading police and willful disregard and assault with a deadly weapon. She was transported to Todd Road Jail in Santa Paula with a $50,000 bail set. An on-scene photographer whose tag below captured the scene because when news breaks, we're on scene.
I actually saw this on video on IG, and many people are already posting the wrong thing about the video. So I tried to do my research to find out if it is true, and to be honest, it is true. It happened maybe like 2 hours ago or an hour ago. Although the world or the internet are having different kind of stories about what really happened, but I actually went to the original source of the video, and I actually got this from the original source of the video. The 18-year-old girl made her case worse by herself. She could have just let the cops do their job and she would just get hit with a minor charge, to be honest. But now she just made things more and more worse for her. The comment section is filled with different things, and some people don't actually think before they actually type. But most of what people are saying is that she's too young to be dragged away like this. I'm like, everyone just needs to calm down. Just because of you are young doesn't give you license to do whatever you want. No, there are rules, there are laws, and they need to be obeyed.
AI just chose 4 new members for their board of directors. They could not have chosen a worse cast of characters. And there seems to be a pattern here. So yesterday they released this statement with their 4 new board members. First, we have Sue, the former CEO of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, also a board member of Pfizer. She's also a member of the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. But for some reason, when the White House wanted to write her bio, they thought that her 2 most prominent positions at Pfizer and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation shouldn't be on this page. I wonder why. Even spicier, this one's hard to find. She's on the board of directors of this company called Resilience, which strangely also has the CEO of In-Q-Tel on it. In-Q-Tel is the investment company for the CIA. There are actually a number of people on this board of directors that have links to the CIA other than this dude. And this company I'm talking about, Resilience, is the company that manufactured all of the mRNA for the thing that Moderna gave to everyone. Kind of weird. Next up is Nicole Seligman. Nicole's famous for being the president of Sony Entertainment, you know, the company that had some beef with Michael Jackson that we've recently talked about. She also previously worked at Paramount. She's a lawyer. And she's represented some interesting people, like Bill Clinton. And if you know the Iran-Contra scandal, she represented Oliver North in those trials. In this old article from the Washington Post, they talk about how, by all accounts, Seligman has won the trust and confidence of both President and Hillary Rodham Clinton. The First Lady thinks the world of her, says Mrs. Clinton's press secretary. Man, that's some high praise from a really great person. What a good endorsement. For those of you keeping track of how many Zionists are on the board of OpenAI, she's also Jewish. I believe that brings the total to 3 out of 7. I'm not totally sure if there's more or not. Because, you know, I can't think of anything better for Israel's public image than to have the AI that's giving everyone answers to their questions about the world, answers that are pro-Israel. And then we have Fiji, who is the CEO of Instacart, but she spent a decade working at high positions at Facebook. At the top, she was the head of the Facebook app. That's in addition to the Facebook executives already on the board, like Brett Taylor, who was the CTO. And he was the chairman of old Twitter when, you know, free speech was like totally good on Twitter. And we have Adam D'Angelo, who was high school friends with Mark Zuckerberg and the CTO of Facebook. So that's 3 former Facebook executives. And last but not least, the crown jewel, Larry Summers, former U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, former chief economist at the World Bank. He was heavily involved in repealing Glass-Steagall, which is what allowed banks to gamble with all of our money in the stock market and cause the crazy bubbles and the crazy crashes that we've seen since. He was instrumental in both setting the stage for the '08 financial crisis, and then he was instrumental in the government allocation of our tax dollars to bail out his friends in the banks. I can't think of anyone that I would want farther away from the ethical development of AI than Larry Summers. As just one example of his high ethical standards, in the 90s, what's called the Summers Memo came out. A quote from it is, quote, "I think the economic logic behind dumping a load of toxic waste in the lowest wage country is impeccable, and we should face up to that." Meaning, I mean, it's really good business to dump all of our corporate toxic waste in poor countries because they can't do anything about it. And that's just good business, and we should face up to that. Right? And then obviously Sam Altman is also back on the board, making a total of 7 people on the board of OpenAI, and I don't want any of them anywhere near the development of AI technology. Remember, Elon Musk is currently suing OpenAI for marketing themselves as an open source, ethical, non-profit AI development company, and then transforming themselves into a closed source, unethical, for-profit AI development empire that is working to control the entire state of information on the internet. I mean, working to develop technology that will benefit everyone all around the world. I mean, just imagine when you don't even need to do research and look for information anymore because AI will tell you everything you need to know about what's real and what's not. It's going to be a brave new world soon. Just you.
Great. This is just great, guys. Wow. The same people running everything are now the same people who wants to run the AI stuff. I'm not surprised. to be honest. I actually expected it because the age of information would change drastically. And I don't know if you guys follow my Stop Censorship channel, you would see that there was a short post I made where a woman told her artificial intelligence speaker to play a Bruno Mars song for her. And guess what? The AI said, no, I'm not going to play Bruno Mars song for you. The AI said, she has listened to the song often and often, and the AI said she's sick of it. That the AI itself is sick of her listening to. Imagine that. Imagine that. Where people will become too reliant on this stuff. And those people he just mentioned, with their background, all we just have to do is look at the history of these places they have worked for. And then bring up, is that the kind of people you would want? Is that the kind of people you would want? Ask yourself that. Imagine the information is out there. All we just have to do is look. All we just have to do is look for it. And just know that these guys actually omit some things to make sure that they look presentable as possible. But if you have your sense, if you have your brains, you'll be able to know that, oh, they're trying to hide something. Because of when you look at this place, then you look at this other place, then you look at this other place, and look at this, and you look at, okay, wait, why is the official document not including any of these things that this person has actually done, or not including any of these places this person has actually worked? Then you know there's something fishy going on. And once you've just seen somebody who approved this stuff, just know that, nah, man. Really? The same people? No. Yeah, it's going to be a brave new world where people will be reliant on this thing. It will give them the information they choose. I mean, just like that Henry Danger episode. I don't know if you guys have seen that episode where Captain Man went for a spelling bee contest and he spelled something wrong. And Schwarz actually went to the internet and changed the definition of things so that Captain Man could be right. And after the whole saga, they actually changed it back to the right information just for that moment. I think that's what's coming, guys. It's happening in Child's Play. It's all children stuff. But if this is what it is, imagine in 2020 they changed the definition of, you know the word that they changed the definition for. They changed the definition so many times to fit their narrative. Tell me they wouldn't do it this time with these same people on board. Man, the world has gone mad.
Think you live in a free country? Think again.
Guys, welcome to the Vlad Castro Show, the #1 show for founders, execs, and entrepreneurs who are scaling their businesses. And what we do is we find the best software on the internet and we make videos about it. And the tool we found for you guys today, it is amazing. Like, I love this tool. It is called 99 Designs by Vista, and it's the sponsor of this video. And what 99 Designs allow you to do is to get great design for your business. Now, guys, think about like your logo design, your website design, your app design, your merchandise, your flyers, your advertising. You need all that stuff designed, and you want to have great design, and that is why you should absolutely use 99 Designs. Now, there are two main ways how you can work with 99 Designs. The first one is you can filter through their huge community of pre-vetted designers, right? You can filter based on the industry you're in and the skill level and what the designers typically work on. So, for example, I'll filter like technology, then I'll filter someone who's an expert, and then filter someone who is an expert and works frequently with logos or advertising, right? And then you'll see portfolios. And then you can look through those portfolios, see the design that you really, really love, reach out to that designer and work with that designer. The second way how you can work with 99 Designs is you can start a contest, right? So you start a contest and then the designers will submit to you designs they made, and then you can choose the designer whose work you like and proceed with that designer. Now, This really depends up to you which strategy you like. Again, for me personally, I like to look through those portfolios because I'm looking at really great work, right? Because I filtered kind of what I wanted to see, the skill level I want, and what the person typically works on. So I'm looking at really great design, and then I can just reach out easily and talk to that designer and get the design that I need. Guys, and remember, you can get just about anything designed on 99 Designs, right? Whether you need logos, your website design, your app design, your merchandise, your t-shirts, your flyers, your advertising, just about anything you need, you can get it designed on 99 Designs, and the quality will be really, really good. Like, this is an exceptional company. They've been around since 2008. So 99 Designs has been serving customers since 2008, and they have served nearly 800,000 customers already. So in summary, if you need great design for your business, really good design for your business, then you should click the link below and sign up for 99 Designs now.
Welcome back, True Seeker. Apologies for the late start. Shout out to all the people in the chat. Thank you for the comment, Neo the Hacker. He says, they love scaring people with these solar phenomenons. Then they use it as an excuse to further an agenda. What I want to talk about in this stream, amongst many things, is just why today in the media they're talking about how there's this solar storm that could affect GPS and certain communication systems, but they said it shouldn't have an impact on cell phones. They said, though, it could take down the power grid. And the media's put out this idea of solar storms and the power grid going down for a long time now. When it first really got on my radar was 2013. If you guys go back to 2013 and listen to Janet Napolitano, former governor down in Arizona as well, but she was the head of the Department of Homeland Security, and when she stepped down in 2013, she gave out a warning that she had given out years earlier. I want to say she first gave it in either 2008 or 2009, but she gave it again when she left the Department of Homeland Security. She said the next 9/11 is not if, but when, and it's the power grid from some kind of cyber attack or act of war or even, a solar storm. The media has echoed on this. In 2013, the year she stepped down, Channel 4 both made similar films that were supposed to be about a realistic scenario, what could happen in the world after, a couple days, a few days, 4 days had gone by, if people had figured out the world was a lot different, the power was out, it wasn't coming back on, something crazy was happening, how people might react to one another in our society. All the people in the cities where they know that the store is going to be out and they don't have any other food in the fridge right now. 2013, it was just a really creepy year. And it was the year I found this knowledge because I was looking for additional information to try and wake people up to what I saw that they're driving us towards. And again, the media does make things a lot scarier than they really are always. So keep that in mind. Don't let these stories scare you. But understand, they've been telling us for a long time they have this planned power outage event. Now, is it going to be like the power grid's down for a day nationwide, 48 hours? If it was only that long, things probably wouldn't get too chaotic. Well, then again, you just never know. If you watch the Channel 4 and the National Geographic one, they make it seem pretty hairy. But then it stays off in those ones. And again, if you haven't seen them, it gets to how there's this rapid destruction in the world after a number of days when people figure out that, the world has changed and something's off. But yeah, that was the year I was like, I put up the blog and I put up the post about, the Georgia Guidestones and how people should be aware what's written on stone and how there is a plan to depopulate. And you see how they could bring about these things with contrived scenarios like 9/11, but rather than just impacting New York City, it's impacting all the major cities of America, creating a real shockwave everywhere. And yeah, again, just recognizing what 9/11 was when it happened. Actually, hold on. We'll come back to all this. I want to make the point about why this is in the news today. Here, I got a lot of things to say about this, but I just want to make a point. Today is the 131st day of the leap year, 131, right? And remember what we were talking about on January 31st of this year, 131. We were talking about it because the head of the FBI, Mr. Wray, he came out and talked about how, you know, a cyber attack on the grid is imminent from China. Okay? So on 131, Christopher Wray made those remarks. And since then, he's made more remarks about this coming cyber attack and it potentially taking the grid down, just like what Janet Napolitano talked about. And let's not forget, Janet Napolitano was the former governor of Arizona. And when Public Enemy put out their album, What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down, they the cover artwork for the album is the state of Arizona. And Public Enemy has a song from 91, By the Time I Get to Arizona, which has to do with them perceiving Arizona as a racist state because it was the last to recognize Martin Luther King Jr. Day. But, yeah. The 131 thing. Why does it matter January 31st and the 131st day of the year? Well, what makes this seem like it's not a coincidence is, again, when you learn gematria, I just want you to see something. If you're new here, gematria, simple practice of coding numbers into words. It is based on 4 key ciphers. And it is the alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5. You turn each letter to a number, and then you just add up the word like it's a mathematical equation. B plus L plus A plus C plus K plus O plus U plus T. The letters are blackout. You add them together. They add up to 85 when you run the alphabetic order forwards. Another cipher is just running the alphabetic order in reverse. Z is 1, back to A is 26. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, blackout is 131. Common terminology for a power outage, a blackout. And again, you got Christopher Wray saying it's imminent from China on January 31st. Now, just funny enough, on the 131st day of the year, they want to switch it up. They want to put out the story that, oh, it could be a solar flare. And again, you guys, if you follow news, which no one does, and I don't blame people for not following news. Well, it's funny. They don't really watch it, but then when the news starts telling them to do something and they see all the rest of the herd doing it, then they just do it too because the news is saying so. Like put a muzzle on and get a shot and all this. Be scared of the 99.9% survivable, you know what. But anyway.
Free Tax USA will guide you step by step.
And triple check your information to help you avoid mistakes. Mike, talk to me.
Mike, what's going on?
It worked.
It worked! It worked, Tom! Thank you, man. I owe you one.
Don't thank me, Mike.
Thank Free Tax USA.
Cheers, America.
Make tax filing easy this year with Free Tax USA. All calculations are guaranteed accurate, and tax pros are standing by if you need assistance.
There's 4 base ciphers. So we covered how blackout's 85 forwards with the alphabetic order, 131 in reverse, and then the other 2 orders are using the alphabetic order with numerology applied. So blackout with numerology applied is 22. And if you say, how does that work? B, the first letter in blackout. B is the second letter. L is the 12th. You can add plus 12. That's what you do in the first cipher, the green one on the left. In the one where blackout equals 22, L becomes 3, and that's because L is the 12th letter, and the numerology of 12 is 1 plus 2 is 3. So just knowing the alphabetic order and then simple addition. A is the first letter, C is the third, K, the 11th letter, is 1 plus 1 is 2. So K is worth 2 instead of 11. O, the 15th letter, is worth 1 plus 5 is 6. U, the 21st letter, is worth 2 plus 1 is 3. T, the 20th letter, is worth 2 plus 0 is 2. So T's worth 2 in the blue cipher, 20 in the green cipher. That's why you get a smaller number value. But the 22 is interesting because, notice, when everyone saw the Obama movie about the grid going down, it's when it went on Netflix pretty much. Nobody really went and saw it in the theater. Everyone heard about it when it went on Netflix December 8th. From the day that it went on Netflix to this day of, the solar flares could mess with the grid tonight. It's exactly 22 weeks later, right? And if they're saying this could happen tonight in the U.S., that already means in other parts of the world, it's already the next day. It's already May 11th, right? And keep in mind, it's a leap year. Typically, May 11th is the 131st day of the year. So always May 11th, the 131st day of the year in a non-leap year, is 85 days before Obama's birthday, right? And this blackout's 85 and 131. And remember, just weeks back when we had the little cell phone outages in the morning time, it was the big story for the day. A lot of the news media was joking that it was like the Obama film. And if you've seen that Obama film, there's 76s all over it, 76ers mugs and beyond. And of course, in Gematria, Barack Obama equals 76, like slave, like Negro, like blues, like Rasta, like Acts 76, about 400 years of slavery. And the first slave ship in America was the White Lion, which is the name of the boat in Obama's movie. The first sign something's wrong in the world. The power goes out on the ship, causing it to crash on shore, kind of like how the power went out on the ship and then hit the Key Bridge on Pelosi's birthday, taking out the Francis Scott Key Bridge when her father was born on Francis Scott Key's birthday. Anyway, if you guys missed the whole Key Bridge thing, Key Bridge equals 86, came down on the 86th day of the year, and it came down exactly 86 weeks after Nancy Pelosi shook hands with the leader of Singapore on Francis Scott Key's birthday in Singapore when the Dolly, the boat that took out the bridge in Baltimore, was from Singapore. Anyway, you learn this little number code, you see the rituals day in and day out. But isn't this interesting that they give us this scare today? And see, this is how they get conflicting information out there. See, let's just say that we're on the verge of this thing. And again, you guys, don't live in fear, and it's probably not going to happen. But like I said, I've been saying for a while now, you need to make sure that you just keep a supply on hand in case the day comes, so that you have at least something for a week for you and your family. Water, non-perishable food, things you would need in an emergency. A propane stove could be helpful. Propane tanks, way to clean water, boil water could be very helpful things, life-saving things, things that keep you from getting sick. First aid kit, batteries, flashlight, some way to protect yourself if things get crazy. It doesn't need to be a gun. I mean, a gun's a good way to do it, but it could be bear spray. You could protect yourself real well if you had some bear spray. You'll be making a lot of people blind coming at you. You don't have to have good aim or anything, and there's a lot in the can, so... But yeah, I mean, just in case that we are here. It's been 11 years since Janet Napolitano gave her speech in 2013. You know, she was real specific about this next 9/11's not if but when, and it's the grid going down. And it's just, already we're early in the year. FBI heads already come out twice this year and warned about the grid going down. He said from a cyber attack. Now it could be the solar flare. But you just see how by putting out all this stuff at the same time, how they overload people with information. Can you imagine if the grid went down, people would be out arguing with each other? I think it was the solar flare. I think it was the cyber attack. I saw Sanjay Gupta. He was, he told me to get the latest booster, and he did. He did also mention the solar flare, actually. I like Sanjay Gupta. You know what I mean? You don't want to be one of these people. And when these days come, like, it won't be pleasant that it happened. But while these people are out, like, having these exact kind of conversations, you'll be like, okay, I think I know what time it is. And my just-in-case plan, if we're in this city, we're going to take... Remember, just like, what are they doing in the Obama film, right? The Obama film might have been dropping more clues for people paying attention. What saved the family, the Julia Roberts family in the film? They're kind of like aloof, or the husband was. But, they just needed to get a little vacation. They just happened to not be in the city that night. You know what I mean? So, again, just things start to get weird and you're in a city. It might be, just time to take up the family, and you've been meaning to do something, a 2-hour drive away, go see some park, take your kids somewhere, your family somewhere you've been putting it off. Maybe it's just like, you know what, let's go do that on this weekend and also have our backup plan in case things get crazy. But then you already got a head start. You're out of the city. Because, like, it was in the movie. When things got crazy, you just couldn't get out of the city anymore. City you were barricaded in. So, but yeah, again, also don't live in fear, guys, because it's probably not going to be like that. But they could turn off the power in your neck of the woods for a period of time, and you'll be pissed if you don't. Imagine it gets hot and you don't have, like, water on hand. That'd be real annoying. It'd be real annoying to be hot and thirsty. You got water on hand, a lot more manageable. Then you just got to make sure you're not chugging too much water in case the power's out for, longer than anyone would hope it would be. But yeah, this stuff is annoying to just witness how they do this and just roll it out by the numbers day after day. But again, we'll continue to hope for the best and that this all means it's just a little joke. And that's all it is. Just another joke in the headlines, another pushing. Because that's what they love to do. They always just push this low vibration, fear, threat.
Taxes was paying the price. Every single year. Now taxes is TurboTax, beating your last tax pro's price. Switch to a TurboTax expert now. We'll beat your last tax pro's price and get you the most money back, guaranteed. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax.
You know what it is. I don't know how else to describe it right now. So they're saying, though, today should not impact cell phones, but it could impact the power grid, and it could impact GPS systems. So if you're out traveling, your GPS might malfunction, they're saying today. And I suppose since everybody's using that on their phone, we'll see if that becomes... Well, we'll see where they go with this story from here. But yeah, again, the thing, just having your head on a swivel. An ounce of preparation is worth a pound of care. Why are they doing so many of these stories? And remember what just happened yesterday, too. If you missed yesterday's story with the cyber attack, one of the nation's largest hospital chains, which is a Catholic hospital chain, it was a national news story yesterday, May 9th, that day and the day prior, they'd been suffering cyber attacks. And it's interesting because the news was released on May 9th. And again, that's the Feast of Ascension date in the Catholic Church. And again, Ascension Healthcare hacked in this time of the Feast of Ascension. In light of what we're always talking about with the Jesuits, again, Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum, the Jesuit who's been simulating everything, the pandemic, cyber attack, power grid down scenarios, cyber polygon, all this stuff they keep doing. If you go back and see the work we've done in past years on cyber polygon, it almost always comes back to the number 78 in a big way. Jesuit has that gematria as 78. Feast of the Ascension, what they call it in the Catholic Church, is also 78. So I'm thinking about that too. You know, we've had plenty of cyber attack stories, and it didn't escalate into anything way bigger all at once for a lot of people. But they've been building all these little stories in the background that all these things can happen. The perfect storm, Donald Trump in court with Stormy Daniels, a really stormy week in the heartland. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but if you missed this, the Ascension thing, shout out to, again, CB7376 in the chat who had that catch. I appreciate that. And as we pointed out, it was in the headlines 144 days after the Pope's birthday. As we know, Ascension equals 144, just like Jesuit order. Pope Francis equals 59. The date can be written 5-9. The Jesuits were created to counter the 95 Theses. The date can be written 9-5. The last Pope died at age 95. He was a German like Martin Luther who penned the 95 Theses, which brought about the Jesuits to stop the Counter-Reformation. So yeah, if you missed that, just that was also in the news yesterday. This thing about Ascension Health and the cyber attack. And let me see, did I link? If you forgot the Chris Ray post from January 31st, here, just to pull that back up. This is earlier this year. We talked about it then. FBI director warns that Chinese hackers are preparing to wreak havoc on U.S. critical infrastructure. And of course, you read the story, power grid and beyond. But yeah, just making the same point, just about blackout in 131. So, okay. Also, yesterday, we talked about how on May 9th, if you missed yesterday's video on May 9th, year after year, I'm here talking about the exact same topic on May 9th, the ritualistic shaming of black celebrities, the ritualistic death of black celebrities, 5-9, like 59, like O.J. Simpson just died 59 days after the Super Bowl, in the year before Super Bowl 59. And we're going to talk more about that. We're going to talk more about the year of Super Bowl 59 at the end of this stream. But yesterday I covered all these stories. Black athletes getting sentenced to prison. The Supreme Court targeting the Florida rapper Flo Rida so that now he's open to a major lawsuit and will probably have to pay a ton of money to a man who part of his song sampled from 84. But as we talked about, just Flo Rida, his name in gematria, his birth name equals 59, like slave, like Negro, like blues, like Rasta, like how Ephesians 6 in the Bible, the verses 5 through 9 are about slavery. And again, OJ, dead 59 days after the Super Bowl, announced dead as the Masters is teeing off, when those verses 5 through 9 are about slaves, obey your masters. And of course, you run the alphabetic order in reverse, slave and master both have that 76 connection, like OJ died at 76. Again, Barack Obama, 76. His Secret Service name, Renegade, 59. The words slave, Negro, blues, Rasta, they all equal 59 and 76. Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. The federal government recognized Black History Month for the first time in 76. Anyway, we talked about how big those numbers were yesterday and all the rituals, and I missed this. This was a primetime story yesterday that I missed when I did that stream. I saw it later that night. But an Air Forceman, an airman, kind of reminding you of the Tuskegee Airmen, just subliminally. But on this 5/9 date, you get a story about a black military man, an airman, getting gunned down by the police. And who's the lawyer involved with this in the nightly news story? Ben Crump, who's connected to all these highly ritualistic killings that are used for divisive propaganda. And some people would say that they're not killings at all. They're just being contrived for the story to divide people. It's all the same at the end of the day. It's the use of propaganda to steer populaces for an agenda. That's what we're exposing. It is more evil if they're actually killing people. And at the end of the day, from where I stand and where I do my research, I don't have enough research to conclude either way that either of those things are definitively happening. That's why it kills me having people just like get divided over little things like that. They're like, oh, I don't like him because he never calls out that it's all a hoax. It's like, I've suggested many times, a lot of stuff seemingly is. But you can only claim what you know. And then when these people who expect others to make those claims, you ask them what their proof is, they don't have any. But again, I come with the same proof and the same logic and the same lessons year after year. And I didn't see this story yesterday, so I just want to look at this story and see how this expands on what we said yesterday. And keep in mind, this is the killing of a black man in Florida by a government official. And then the same day, the famous Florida rapper is getting opened up by the government to having to pay all this money from something from 1984, an election year when Reagan won his second term. The guy who also ran on Mega. Donald Trump, Florida. These jokes are bigger than you know, but in case you missed the Flo Rida post yesterday, again, just the Gematria 59, his birth name is Tremar Dillard, 5'9", like May 9th, like 5'9". Slave, renegade, that's Obama's Secret Service name. Negro, Rasta, blues, all 59, run it the other way. They're all 76 except for renegade, but then Barack Obama's 76 the other way. Again, with regards to them referring to him as an airman, you think of the Tuskegee Airmen, which then connects you to the Tuskegee experiment. But Tuskegee's got that gematria of 42, like slavery, like February, like Martin, like Malcolm X, like Muhammad Ali, like LeBron James, like Jackie, like Jesuit, like Georgetown. Again, this does all go back to the Jesuits, but and the Bible. New Testament's 42, 42 generations to Jesus. The word math equals 42. The New Testament begins with Matthew. This theme of the war right now, too, that's a big war number, 42. We first deployed troops to World War II in the start of 42 after Pearl Harbor got bombed at the end of 41. But look at this. Ben Crump, right? Ben Crump, who's immediately part of this story. He has the same birthday as Gavin Newsom. He's 54 years old right now. Been talking a lot about 54, especially with Diddy. Notice the story of the man's death, just to read from the article. It says, a Florida sheriff's office released body camera video Thursday showing a sheriff's deputy shoot and kill a U.S. airman at his apartment last week while the deputy was responding to a disturbance call. The video shows a deputy from the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office in the Florida Panhandle knock on the door of Senior Airman Roger Fortson. Okay, so that's the title. Senior Airman Roger Fortson. I just want you to see that title has Gematria 144 in the same cipher as the United States of America. It's a reminder the Jesuits came out of suppression 144 days after James Madison's birthday, who was the sitting president at the time. But this 144, again, it's huge with the Jesuits and their rituals. So this was in the news 144 days after the Pope's birthday. Again, Pope Francis is 59 as well. Again, one more time, Benedict stepped down on the 59th day of the year for him. In 1959, Pope Francis celebrated his first year with the Jesuits. Pope Francis equals 58 and 59. Again, he became a Jesuit in 58. His first anniversary of the Jesuits would have fell in 59. Eventually, he becomes the Pope in a big 59 ritual. It also makes it just extra fitting because it has the racial, biblical connection. And remember, we understand the Bible as we know it because of the Catholic Church. Within about 100 years of each other, you had numbered Bibles, the Gregorian calendar, English standardized with the 26-letter alphabet. You see how they synced up this system. There's a lot more to the name of the man, Roger Fortson, who was killed. But keep in mind, he was killed at Fort Walton Beach. Fortson killed in Fort Walton Beach. Forts are military man. There's a lot of interesting things in his name, Gematria. But I wanted to get to the part right here. So this news broke on May 9th, right? They made this the news May 9th, but the story was he was killed May 3rd of this year. And in a leap year, that's the 124th day of the year, right? The 124th day of the year. And Ben Crump is front and center in this story. Notice how in Gematria, Ben Crump equates to 124, just like Florida. I mean, it's just like, that's why you look at this and you're like, are these stories even real? I mean, if they are, you see why the man's targeted.
Adobe Acrobat AI Assistant helps me build trust with clients. With AI Assistant, I can find contract details quickly. Having all of this together helps position myself as an expert, and it gives me that confidence to talk to clients.
Mr. Fortson in Fort Walton Beach County. But yeah, on 5/9, and just year after year. Stories of death. Adrian Payne the other year, Little Richard, so many more. I mean, just a few years ago, it was 2020. We were just talking about this. It was buzzing all 5/9 that the current CEO of Motown had dropped dead at age 59. And again, Motown was founded in 1959. And again, Black History Month ends on the 59th day. And just this kind of ritual year after year on 5/9, along with everything else that we documented yesterday. Just like my first book, Letters and Numbers, very long book. There's a long chapter in there on the ritual shaming and killing of Black celebrities and the use of this number 59 along with 42. And we document that in several different ways yesterday. You know, Flo Rida, they had to do it on his 237th day of his age. They also had to have the justice write the decision whose title is 59, Justice Elena Kagan. But yeah, on the 237th day of Flo Rida's age, that's the prime factorization of 42, 237. Seen it before. So 2 Florida stories. And maybe there's something more to look into with Florida. You know, in light of military, right? I mean, Florida's like a very strategic military position. All this water, you know, all these rumors of war right now. Yeah, there's always a lot of symbolism and ritualism, and sometimes within the stories, clues foreshadowing the next move on their chessboard, if you will. Okay, also in the headlines, remember the pop star Abbasi? He died at a young age, 28. They said it was a suicide. And now his ex-girlfriend is dead at 34, and they made it seem like she survived cancer, but then a year later, dead from complications due to it. Anyhow, dead at 34, right? And Abbasi supposedly had a suicide. Remember, in Gematria, murder equates to 34, like suicide, like poison. It's a fateful number. And this was in the news today. This is today's news, but that's not when she died, but it's in the news today, May 10th. And from Abbasi's death on April 20th, 2018, to this news of her dying is exactly 316 weeks later. If you say 316 to a lot of people, they'll recognize it. Some of them might just recognize it through the WWE. They're like, oh yeah, that's that Bible verse, John 3:16, the one about giving his own one and only son. Jesus has that gematria 34. You know, he was somebody's son, dead at a very young age. Both stories on a Friday, which is interesting. There's a lot more that can be said about the 72 months later, but that did stand out the way the stories broke, 316 weeks apart. And keep in mind, this young woman's Jewish. Jesus was from Judea. Jewish is also 34. And then you read the story and look at when she actually died. They broke the news now, but she died on April 3rd. That date can be written 3/4. Remember, they've traced Jesus' crucifixion to that date. If you look it up, here. Jesus' crucifixion, April 3rd. And there's several reasons this date is interesting. But this publication's from the University of Chicago. It's in Midwestern. You'll see it all over the place. NBC News. Again, this was in 2012. It's funny, NBC covered this on typically the 144th day of the year, but it was a leap year that year, so it was the 145th day, like Catholic equals 145, like there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament than Protestant, which goes with like Israel was established on 14/5. But anyway, April 3rd, 33 AD is when they say this Jesus crucifixion happened. Remember, that date can be written 3/4. Jesus is 34, like Jewish, like cross. He's the Jewish Messiah. And again, for real to understand the difference between Judaism and Christianity, Christianity accepts the story that Jesus is the Jewish Messiah they're waiting for. Jews say, oh no, he was a false, he was a fraud, he wasn't the real Messiah. We're still waiting for Messiah. He'll come at the time of the third temple. So this is the distinction between Judaism and Christianity. And then there's some other philosophical differences and days of worship difference. Well, really, it was all supposed to be on the same day, the Sabbath day. It's the Christians that got thrown onto Sunday because of the Catholic Church, the sun worshipers. And it's amazing people can't see the most obvious things. But this April 3rd date, again, that date can be written 3/4. It can also be written 4/3. And Jesus Christ equals 43. And it's the 93rd day of the year. Crucifix equals 93. God's Son equals 93. Nazareth 93. The sun in the sky is 93 million miles away on average. The Protestant Bibles, the 930th book is where the New Testament begins. The first 929 chapters, or not book, but it's the 930th chapter. The first 929 chapters of the Bible are the Old Testament. The 930th is the New Testament. And in Sumerian gematria, Christianity equals 930. That's just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6. But notice also from his death to her actual date of death was 71 months and days later. Remember, well, Catholic, of course, equals 71. We know what happened in Israel and in Jesuit-controlled Israel. The war began 71 days from the Pope's birthday on Putin's 71st birthday. Big number with the Catholics is 71, but Emily Goldberg has that 71 connection, and that's the woman who's dead at 34 after losing her boyfriend at a young age, and now, she also dies at a young age. Just looking back at things like this was released in the media on 12/29. Abbasi's final words before suicide revealed a new book. 12/29. 1229 is the 201st prime. Again, 201, 105, special numbers. Order of Illuminati equals 201 and 105. The first Jesuit Pope, the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 201 and 105. And on and on and on. But all the stuff they've done with Albert Pike. That's Albert Pike's birthday too, 12/29. It's the day Netanyahu came back on Albert Pike's birthday anniversary, when Albert Pike wrote the letter about 3 world wars, and the third is about a big war with political Zionism. So but yeah, we've seen it so many times. I'm trying to remember, is his name Robert Luna? Was he the sheriff that took over in LA, Robert Luna, right before the Lunar New Year festival shooting? I remember he had a whole bunch of suicides like all at once in his department. And I remember the video I did on that just seemed to have like a lot of felt like a lot of government officials were responding and trying to put a different spin on it. Like, oh no, just police forcing is a very, very tough profession. And there are just a lot of suicides. But we were like, hold on. There's a lot of things to this, but there's a 34 piece, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was the 34th sheriff, or he is. He's the 34th sheriff of Los Angeles County. And there's been so many examples of 34 and suicide in the news, but now the latest with Avicii's girlfriend dead at 34 when he committed suicide. What was it about December 5th? So the deaths in Luna's office happened exactly 48 weeks after Robert Luna was sworn in, and Luna equals 48, and 48 laws of power, and Freemasons 48, and the Fraternal Order of Police is Masonic, and Illuminati's 48 as well, and on and on and on. But it's funny, a lot of police departments use like Israeli operatives to train their police forces, and Israel was established in 48. I want to look more into that angle, but four, that number of death. LA has the gematria 4. 4 former and current LA sheriff's employees died by suicide in less than 24 hours. Concluding on November 6th, 48 weeks after being sworn in for Luna. Oh, and then the date numerology was 60 the day that happened. So that's like, see that, like, if you have a brain, if somebody comes, I don't care if a room of government agents come and say, oh, that's bullshit. Policing is a hard job and there's a lot of suicide. Okay, that could be true. But how often is there a national headline that 4 died in one office within this many hours when this guy's already been connected to something super highly ritualistic with him being sworn in right before the Lunar New Year festival shooting? If you guys recall, and that was the theme for the early part of the year, the 80-year-old Chinese shooters. Like, come on, man. The 80-year-old Chinese mass shooter, I'm sure. I mean, give me a break. As believable as the cave dweller on 9/11. But the same audience still hasn't figured anything out, so they still fall for the same old bullshit. But anyway. Yeah, I just remember when I made the video, just how many people left a comment like that. Oh, no. There's nothing conspiracy. You need to not write us. You need to leave this alone. This is a touchy subject. It's like, no, I don't think so. I think this needs to be looked into. I think we need a real investigation. But how do you investigate a totally? I mean, you can never rely on our government to do we just have such a criminal government. Like they're ever going to do an honest investigation of themselves. Man, there was some story back, if I'm not mistaken, zombie equals 34. And years back, there was a story like a 34-year-old zombie actor from Walking Dead committed suicide. It's like, come on, man. I'm sure.
Welcome to a moment of calmness from One A Day. That's right, a calming moment from a vitamin brand. Wait, don't zone out yet. One A Day multivitamins help provide nutritional support for your well-being as part of a healthy lifestyle. Whether you're navigating a busy day or seeking quiet reflection, One A Day vitamins are here for you. Choose clarity, choose wellness, choose One A Day multivitamins. Science that matters for nutritional support. Grab your One A Day vitamins at your favorite retailer today.
Okay. Dave Portnoy, the Massachusetts sports guy. You know, Massachusetts gets so much sports attention. That state of Massachusetts, those Celtics, those Patriots, those Boston Reds. I mean, there's a reason for it. Massachusetts It's one of 3 states in the most pure cipher. There's only 3 states in the most pure cipher. The alphabetic order with numerology that have the 33 gematria. The first state, Delaware. The 50th and final state, Hawaii. And then the 6th state, Massachusetts, where 33 and 6 are kind of where the number gets its magic from. Again, man's made on the 6th day in the Bible in Genesis. Genesis has that gematria 33. People equals 33. Person 33. Society 33. The Masons are into 33 because of the human vertebrae that has 33 bones. You do spiritual ascension, kundalini, up to 33 bones of the human vertebrae. Again, Masonry equals 33, like secrecy, like order. So many 33 in mega sports rituals, but you'll just notice like so many of the most influential people in the world of sports that are writers also hail from Massachusetts. So Dave Portnoy is one of these guys that gets his sports thing. I can't remember what it's called right now. If somebody told me the name of his sports thing. I recognize his name, and I know he has some sports. It's not ESPN level, but it's just like another sports thing that's out there. Anyway, you'll see his name he's a notoriously conservative. Fox News will use him in their stories. But you just look at these people too. The people that had, again, the sheep don't get it. But if you're actually listening when you're watching the sports time, sometimes you'll start hearing these commentators start jibber jabber about the political issues in the world. It's a blowout game. They might get into some other current events momentarily, and a few words are said that goes with the rest of the media's programming and theme. But yeah, these people on the world stage that get this recognition, again, to be on the stage, you got to be out there fulfilling your script. And again, I mean, these comments. Again, there's the way the media has made 2 groups of people. You either support Israel and don't question it at all or what's going on over there, or you're anti-Israel. And then you start getting linked in with Zionist and all this other stuff. It's just so annoying. It's always been this way. If you care about people being killed in Gaza, again, the headlines just told you about 40,000 dead so far. A lot of them are women and children. If you care about that, you're now anti-Israel. This is the game the media's made it. This is thank God we have a First Amendment so that we can have a free and open press. Ha ha. And again, remember the founders told you that if the nation becomes about money and a central bank, everything's ruined. Everything's out the window. So, I mean, everything's been out the window for a long time. We get the latest central bank in 1913. Is that what year it was? I think it was 1913. December of 1913. Isn't that when it was? Man, that's 111 years ago now. But yeah, just how everywhere they have to just echo these BS opinions. Dave Portnoy says people who are anti-Israel shouldn't be allowed to have jobs. Again, it's like, are these people serious? I mean, like, these people, it's just so anti-American. And then you tune into Fox News where they're presenting these kind of opinions with all their flag-waving graphics. It's like, this channel's not about America. It's about a political party. It's super about Israel more than anything. It's like super racist. Fox News is just so racist. I mean, you can't deny it. It's just like they always like every hour they got to average like one at least 30-second clip of a store camera of a black person doing something illegal in the nation. They just got to get it in there, part of their regularly scheduled programming. Here's our store camera of a black person stealing something today. We just had to sneak it in there real quick. It's like, oh, thanks, Fox News. God. But no, I mean, it's just, it's annoying that the herd continues to watch the news media and just doesn't see the game. They think that this is the legitimate thing to listen to. This is the thing that's the fair. It's just, yeah, Fox News calling itself fair and unbalanced. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're watching Fox, CNN, any of them. They're all propaganda. Yeah, they might have a different political angle, but they're all just spewing the propaganda. All right. Now, again, the fun thing about this knowledge, you can see how it applies to sports and, again, Bitcoin, crypto, markets, news, rigged elections. This knowledge is used in so many things. I mean, look how perfect it was what we said about Bitcoin earlier this year. We said, watch, by the 72nd day of the year, it should be at about 72,000. Bitcoin and money both equal 72, like Jesuit order. We've been showing the Jesuit rituals with Bitcoin forever. But I told people, I said, after it hits that, probably a good time if you've made a lot of money to cash out at least a good chunk and have a nice profit, because there's a good chance it's going to go back down. And if you go back and look at my video, which was dead on, I mean, a lot of the comments were like, bruh, Bitcoin's going up to 150,000, bruh. Nope. But had you listened to me, you would have cashed out and then you could have bought back in when it dipped back down. People be like, bro, I'm just right now, still going to make it to 150. Okay, might eventually be true, but do you realize that had you cashed out at 72 and bought back in lower, you would have instantly made more wealth? So when you just come back with, bruh, I'm just going to keep right to 150, it's like, bruh, that's not a good sound strategy. Taking my advice, you would have been ahead. So you got to admit when you're wrong. And again, with this knowledge, with sports futures, we've done a great job. I don't know anyone in the history of the world who's even come close to accomplishing what I have in the last decade with sports futures. Not even close. And last year, we added to the resume again in baseball, hitting 50-1 with the Rangers future, which we put in day one. But again, what I'm about to show you, this doesn't mean that this is going to be the World Series, but it's a storyline to investigate more, because there's a narrative here that no doubt is going to show itself in the football season ahead. So many years we've used baseball in the rituals in baseball and other sports. They're all rigged together to see the future outcome of a sports league. And here's why this one's so interesting. The Royals and the Angels on May 9th. There's a lot of things that are interesting about this game, but it was on 5-9. The upcoming Super Bowl is 59. And Super Bowl 59 will conclude the 105th NFL season. And you might recall a handful of years back when Jared Goff was the Rams quarterback, he beat Mahomes in a duel in primetime with a score of 54-51, 105 points. So notice, when I write out Los Angeles Angels, the baseball team that played yesterday on 5-9 like 59, it has this gematria of 59 forwards. 85 in reverse is interesting too, because National Football League's 85. But the Los Angeles Angels 59, and in that same cipher, Kansas City Royals is also 59. And remember, Mahomes is a part owner of the Kansas City Royals. And remember, Mahomes' first season as a starter, the Kansas City Royals went 58-104. And then last year, Mahomes won the 104th NFL season in Super Bowl 58. 2018 was the first year Mahomes started. If you go back and look, you'll see the Royals were 58-104 that year. 58 wins, 104 losses. So last year, the 104th NFL season, he wins Super Bowl 58. You can see Kansas City Royals is 103, so is State Farm. And of course, he won the Super Bowl in State Farm Arena, 57 as well. But the point is, a lot of rituals over the years between sports leagues. The year that Brady went down to Tampa and won the Super Bowl his first year there, really early in the baseball season, they did a huge, undeniable ritual with Tampa and Brady's decision. And the Super Bowl date, it was just undeniable. And sure enough, Brady, defied the odds and won the Super Bowl at age 43. People don't realize that football equals 43 like Florida. Remember back when it all started for him after 9/11 and the Patriot Act and the Patriots taking over, the 43rd president was in office, and it came down to Florida, where his brother was the 43rd governor and their daddy was the 43rd vice president. And the man football is credited to went to Yale and was in Skull and Bones like the Bushes, and Yale equals 43. And remember the Goatville killing neighborhoods in Yale right before Brady won the Goat Bowl at age 43, and then what they did to DMX on April 3rd, 4-3, when he's on the LL Cool J song, 4-3-2-1. The date that DMX was pretty much pronounced dead was 4-3-21. And then they saved him. They reported 6 days later he died on April 9th, which was Lil Nas X's birthday. He was Mr. Satan, and DMX said he sold his soul to Satan. But LL Cool J has channel 43 on Sirius XM. LL Cool J has the song 4-3-2-1, where he ends the song saying he's the GOAT, the greatest of all time. GOAT equals 43. Greatest of all time equals 188, like Brady won the Super Bowl 188 days after his 43rd birthday. But again, DMX is on that song 4-3-2-1, and in the news he's pretty much dead 4-3-2-1. They said DMX was like a vegetable. The word vegetable equals 79, like LL Cool J, and that news broke 79 days after LL Cool J's birthday. I'm just going to stop. It goes on and on and on, but the point is, all of these mega rituals, the sports world's connected, the entertainment world's connected. And if you just follow the numbers, you can see just how perfect it is. So we just said that Mahomes won Super Bowl 58 to conclude the 104th NFL season. Michael Waka, the pitcher of this game, he stayed on 58 career losses, and the Royals won 10-4, right? So let me just pull back up the four ciphers. I just want to write out Angels, and just so you can see the 104 and the 58, okay? 104-58. Royals came into the series on 22 wins, 22 men on the football field. They win the first game of the series. And what's crazy is, you might recall, so this is Michael Waka's record after winning last night. He came into this game with 89 wins and 58 losses. Los Angeles, California equals 89. 89 is the 24th prime. Mahomes just got his 89th career win, winning Super Bowl 58. He got the 24th win for the Chiefs in the playoffs all time. Missouri's the 24th state. Waka improves to 2-4, coming in with 89 wins and 58 losses. And this game was 89 days after the Super Bowl was played as well. 89 days after the Super Bowl was played. So, just familiar patterns. May 9th is 131 days before Mahomes' birthday. What does 131 relate to in NFL history? It relates to the word Super Bowl, right? Super Bowl is 131. So many 131 Super Bowl rituals over the years. This ritual on 5/9 before the year of Super Bowl 59 is 131 days for Mahomes' birthday. And again, it was Mahomes who played Jared Goff and lost 51-54, 105 points, and next season's the 105th season. What else is it about? Again, the reason this doesn't mean that this is going to be the Super Bowl, but this is part of the narrative, here's what you have to think about. Remember this pattern. Kobe Bryant died the Sunday before Mahomes won his first Super Bowl. Kobe Bean Bryant equals 54. Gianna Bryant equals 54. Kobe was 41. Gianna was 13. Added together 54. Dead the Sunday before Super Bowl 54. Kobe Bryant 41. Super Bowl 41. Mahomes won that game with his 41st pass, which was his 26th completion and number 26 to put it away when Kobe just died on the 26th. Last year, Mahomes won the Super Bowl with the final touchdown. First team to go back-to-back in 19 years with McCole Hardman's 19th career touchdown. It went to OT 19-19. Joe Montana 19 for the Chiefs at age 67, the 19th prime. Oh, shoot, I got tangential. What was I saying before the Super Bowl? Just talking about this Super Bowl. Anyway, Kobe. Yeah, I'm going back to Kobe. That's what it is. Kobe. So, Kobe was the last pro athlete to three-peat, to win 3 in a row. Remember how they just put up the statue of Kobe Bryant at the Lakers Stadium on February 8th? That was the same day Derek Thomas, number 58 for the Chiefs, died in history. On the 24th anniversary of his death, they put up the Kobe statue, number 24. They make it 19 feet tall right before the Chiefs do the first team in 19 years ritual. Remember, the moon's on a 19-year cycle. But they put up that statue on the 54th day of the Pope's age. Kobe Bean Bryant, 54. Kobe Bryant, 41, dead at 41, traveling from Catholic Mass on the Pope's 41st day of his age. Okay, so Kobe has the 41-54 connection. The statue was the 54 ritual. Super Bowl 58 was the 54th of the modern era. Kobe Bryant equals 58, like Los Angeles Lakers. So Kobe has the 58-54 connection. Mahomes has now won 3 Super Bowls since Kobe died. He won 54, then he won 57 and 58. Again, you can see there's some kind of ritual going on here. Perfectly synced with Mahomes, using LA. I mean, the Los Angeles Angels too, right? Kobe died in the city of Angels. Remember, on Kobe's last birthday, look it up if you don't know this to be true, because it's a fact. On Kobe's last birthday, the movie Angel Has Fallen came out. Angel Has Fallen, released angel has fallen released on Kobe Bryant's last birthday. And then Kobe falls out of the sky as the story in a helicopter in the city of angels, right? So, how these numbers come together. 105th season, Super Bowl 59. And with regards to O.J. Simpson, Simpson has the gematria of 105. Again, he died 59 days after the last Super Bowl. When you think about the Chiefs, you automatically think about the Buffalo Bills, O.J. Simpson's team. O.J. Simpson's team's the 49ers. He's beat them in Super Bowls 54 and 58, the Joe Montana Bulls, when Joe Montana equals 54. Montana. So, yeah. Anyhow, just so many parallels. Are they trying to tell you that Patrick Mahomes is going to be the first NFL quarterback to ever three-peat? We've been talking about on Patreon for a while, this potential narrative, and if it were to happen, there's 3 teams we've had circled that all could really fit the narrative of why a three-peat would make sense. But of course, I'll be fair to you. LA is obviously one of those because Kobe, the last athlete to three-peat was LA Lakers with Kobe Bryant. So, yeah, I mean, just totally scripted outcomes. You got to love on 5-9 that they pulled Detmers, the starter, after he throws 59 strikes. After the 59th strike, pull him out of the game. He had 90 pitches. And notice the starter, Waka. I mean, this is why when you start looking at box scores, it just starts to get funny. You see how Waka had 103 pitches, 67 for strikes? We just had Kansas City Royals up here, right? Weird. Somehow it's 103, like State Farm, like Mahomes won the 103rd NFL season, does all the State Farm ads. I think the State Farm is us. We're the tax cattle. Insurance industry is part of it. But Kansas City Royals has that 59 and 103. So on 5-9, the Royals pitcher throws 103 pitches, right? But then he had 67 for strikes. Kansas City, 67. And again, people will say, how can you possibly have it be that structured and that perfect? Some nights you'll see that it's very close and you'll be like, damn, I'm almost surprised it wasn't that way. And maybe that's why it's not always perfect. But you will see a lot of times the rituals hit. And to answer that question, how it could be that good, I'm going to make a point. My dad raised me to be a baseball machine when I was a kid. And like when I wasn't playing with my friends, which was usually sports anyway, or doing homework or school, my dad had me with a hockey net, and he taught me to set up this hanging coffee can in different places of the hockey net and put it in different places of the hockey net. And he had it like a home plate and left-handed and right-handed batters. He was teaching me how to have accuracy. I used to just spend all day, all the time throwing baseballs at coffee cans and positions for accuracy. And I was so good as a kid. Like, I was a good baseball player, but I had a good arm. But there's just some kids who have just way better arms. They can throw 10 miles per hour faster than you, 15 miles per hour faster than you. They're the elite talent. But I was just a super accurate pitcher. So what I'm saying is, as a kid, just practicing in my spare time a lot. I mean, I'd spent a lot of time throwing balls at coffee cans, but got super accurate. So when I think of a professional athlete who doesn't have school to do and has the best coaches in the world, and this is his life, and he's paid all this money to do it, I'm thinking, you know what? He should be able to hit the coffee can all damn day too. I mean, he's getting paid millions of dollars, and he's a grown adult man, like I just said, with all the time in the world to do this. So that's why when I look at it, like when I look at pro athletes as someone, again, I'm only 5'10", right? So, I mean, kind of the world of athletics. In baseball, you can be 5'10", it's fine. But in baseball, that's the sport you can be 5'10". But even baseball guys are getting bigger and bigger. The sport of baseball is getting bigger and bigger. It's like the Aaron Judge age. Now everyone needs to look like they're roided out on, born just like tossing steroids down their throat. But Aaron Judge has heads growing out of heads. Yeah, baseball's getting bigger, but historically it was the shorter man's game. But again, I'm just saying, I grew up as a good athlete, and when I watch pro sports for like all of my life, I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. These guys should be better. I mean, nobody should shoot this bad. Are you kidding me? You had a shot in college, but now you lost it in the pros, and now you can't even make a free throw? Like, in what world does this happen? Who's the University of Washington guard that went to the NBA the other year and then forgot how to shoot a basketball, couldn't make a free throw. I mean, like, what did they do to him? Did they give him a lobotomy? Like, how's that even possible? Or is it just all an act? He got drafted and they said, listen, man, you drew the short stick on the NBA script, but hey, you're still going to make millions of dollars. And then, trust me, it's the United States of amnesia. They'll forget about it all anyway. But yeah, these high rituals, you guys, the numbers, you learn the numbers, you watch the news, the sports, you're like, shit is more scripted than I knew. And with regards to baseball being a game of 9 men on the field, you know, for the defensive team, 9 innings in a standard game. If a pitcher threw 9 straight strikes, it would be the shortest inning possible. Well, actually, I guess 3 pitches and 3 pop outs or ground outs could be the shortest inning. You could end the inning on 3 pitches. But the fastest way to have a 3 strikeouts for a pitcher in an inning is 9 pitches. And, you know, this game was played on May 9th, which is 9 months before the Super Bowl on February 9th. So, yeah, just remember this game and just pay attention this year because there'll be more clues. And this is the kind of stuff we look at Patreon and be like, okay, we saw. Remember, we'll be going back over. Remember May 9th? Now look at what they did. So, but yeah, 259 teams on 5-9 with a little history in cities and sports, some familiar numbers, and yeah, so. Gematria, top-notch knowledge. I don't know why, you know, something is missing in here. I can see somebody gave a super chat, but shout out to Nick. I appreciate it. He said, thank you, charmed one. But what is going on? Are we streaming right now? I don't have any of the normal controls that I do. What is going on? Huh. Weird. Normally, there's like a thing you can click on to see who gave super chats, but I do not have that anywhere. I can scroll up and see if we can. Do we got comments from the beginning? Ray says, "What's the Dave Portnoy news?" That was the first comment of the chat. Austin was in there and said, "Let's go." All right, that makes me think that was the beginning of the chat. Shout out to Austin. Austin, when I come out to Seattle, always pounds payment with us. Great contributor to the community. Thank you very much, Nick. I appreciate your generosity. That means you gave more than one super chat, huh? Nick, you're a young guy too, man. I appreciate all your generosity, but make sure you're saving up that rainy day fund. Rick James is the super chat broke. It was Nick again. And then shout out to Rick James. It looks like it was thank you again, Nick. Okay, it was Nick and Rick James as always. I appreciate the continued generosity. Lil Wayne has song 3, Pete. He's from New Orleans. And isn't that interesting, right? And so again, that's one of the storylines we've been looking at because we all know, well, maybe we don't all know, but if you follow enough about pop culture, if you have ESPN on or whatever show it is where they bring on Lil Wayne, he always tells you what his favorite football team is.
Guys, welcome to the Vlad Catcher Show, the #1 show for founders, execs, and entrepreneurs who are scaling.
On Lil Wayne, he always tells you what his favorite football team is. I'll tell you what, that team's quarterback, they've been syncing up some rituals with Michael Jordan. They had a big old one in the playoffs last year. What were they up 33-0 in the big Michael ritual? I got to go back and check that out. But yeah, that is where the three-peat could happen. That is interesting. So good thinking, Space Invader. Yesterday, I appreciate your super chat. I didn't understand your comment yesterday, but I read your comment loud and clear today. Nick, come on, man. I appreciate all the generosity, but seriously, don't go overboard, man. Thank you, though, for being a great contributor to the community for a long time. Okay, so yeah, if you guys got here late, it did start more serious than sports, but you always got to keep it fun, too. Life's got to be balanced. Again, just broken record, you guys, and I hope my advice over the last several months hasn't fallen on deaf ears. I'd like for it to be that we would never need the advice that I'm saying to ever be necessary. But again, it really isn't that costly to just make sure you got like a week's supply worth of water in terms of big jugs of water. And Make sure you got at least some kind of basic first aid. Imagine it's dark, you accidentally cut yourself. Just like some serious kind of band-aid in case you really had to tape something up. Just in case, batteries, flashlight, some rubbing alcohol could be real handy if you had a nasty cut. Could be the difference between infection and not. So, yeah, just basic necessities, non-perishable food. I was just thinking of like a food type that would be good that you could get in the grocery store if you don't live like next to some, like I live out in the middle of nowhere, so I don't have like some military supply store like I'd have in the city. But, like jerky, it would be a good dried fruits, dried veggies, things that are actually dried, not with a whole bunch of sugar and salt added to them, but just like in their pure form, because again, it's just lightweight. You could carry a bunch of it. Like if you had a bunch of, imagine you had a bunch of jerky, right? Not like you just want to eat jerky, you'd be all high in all kinds of crap you don't need. But in a fallout situation, you could have a whole bunch of nutrients essentially that hardly weigh anything in a backpack. You know what I mean? So you want to be light on your feet, and if you got to move and things that, if you don't have to move anywhere, if you're just straight, canned food, most of that's non-perishable. Pretty much all that's non-perishable. And most of it you can just eat raw right out of the can. Just make sure it's stuff you can't eat raw without getting sick. Because, yeah, it's just, I mean, they've been scaring us for a long time, but now the fear repetitions are building. And you can just see with all the narratives going on in the world why they might very well do it. They got to create the next big unnecessary war out of the next contrived storyline. And again, this moment right here, you guys, I mean, the thing is, if you were with me from the beginning, this is what I was writing about. Like the Georgia Guidestones, wasn't long into the research where it really dawned on us like, whoa, what happens when the Georgia Guidestones turn 44 in light of that number in Georgia? And saying, yeah, 2024, that could be a wild time. That's around the D-Eagle website prediction for the fall off for whatever reason in the Earth's population. I mean, I hope none of it's that, but it is funny to think that we've been here talking about this stuff for 10 years, and it's like, now we are at this moment. I mean, I hope it all turns out to be nothing, but yeah, again, an ounce of preparation could be worth, I always say, just imagine the situation, you don't have anything. It's not going to be a place you're going to want to be. You'll be rushing out to the store. It'll be a headache. There might be nothing at the store by the time you get there. Remember, they kind of showed us that in COVID, right? They started creating all these contrived shortages of everything. You go to the grocery store, it's like, wow, I can't believe it. They don't have any spaghetti. I've never seen spaghetti not at the store. And there's back in stock, and it's like, whoa, the spaghetti costs 3 times more than it did before. You'd always get a bag of spaghetti, a little 12 ounce for 99 cents. Now it's $2.99 for the cheapest one. What happened? All right. Yeah, thank you again for the generosity. Lil E Channel TV 78. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. And shout out to ABCD, also getting super generous. Thank you. Okay, yeah, I was just reading the chat for a second. I think we'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. But yeah, hopefully it's just more fear mongering. But again, it could just be fear mongering building up to a larger event. We got Israel's birthday just days away, May 14th. It's going to turn 76. We all know what happened in 1776. And again, Pluto has that 248-year cycle, which means it's in its full cycle since 1776, and all the stuff they're doing with the country turning 248, and the Illuminati, and what's going on with Trump right now in the big 248 court case, where Trump got a break in court on the Illuminati's 248th birthday. I mean, just all the examples we have of just recent... There's been so many huge news stories just like in the last month, from O.J. Simpson to, well, it's been a little bit more than a month since the bridge collapsed, but just this Trump trial, you would have thought just the information we put out, one of these things would have went viral. And But yeah, if you guys missed it, Stormy Daniels is 45. She, the trial happens, or she takes the stand on her 45th. What was it? 45 days after her 45th birthday. Pornography equates to 45. Donald Trump, number 45. Her a porn star. A nation of jerk-offs, believing in Q, thinking Donald Trump's their messiah. I mean, sadly, these things aren't jokes, right? They're like statistics. It's like it is a nation of jerk-offs watching Q, worshiping their golden man, their orange man, their overgrown Oompa Loompa, all the things we know about this guy. But yeah, the joke is so on America. It's like what I was ranting about yesterday about the animal that's raised by a very mean owner. Like we're treated like we're cattle by the ruling class who speaks in this Kabbalistic code each day and puts all these jokes in front of our face that nobody gets. But they're like a mean owner that likes to mock their animals because they know they can speak a language the animal doesn't understand. So they just sit there and talk shit to the animal all day that they rule over. Just mean, wicked people. But here, before I wrap it up, let me make sure there's not any other breaking stories we should touch on real quick. Hold on, we do have a breaking story. Sam Rubin, Los Angeles TV mainstay, dead at 64. You know what? For all your guys' generosity today, I'll stay on for a little bit longer. I got to cut it. I can't stay like more than 30 more minutes, though. That's really going to be pushing it. But I see billionaire hedge fund founder Jim Simon's dead as well. Young Sheldon's the top story after that. TV entertainment. Hold on. I'm going to switch the audio setting real quick, and let's just do if I don't have to hold the mic and can use two hands to type, better. So it won't sound better. But yeah, you guys should still hear me. Just it's a different mic and not a good one. It's not as good of one. Let me see. Let's look at this story. Sam Rubin. I'm sure if I lived in LA, I would recognize him, but I don't. Longtime entertainment anchor for KTLA in Los Angeles has died at the age of 64. Fellow anchor Frank Buckley announced on air Friday. If you're new here, 64 is a fateful number just in itself. The word kill has gematria 64. It's part of the kill date that comes up once a month. We're not there yet. It's May 9th. Hold on. Did I say it was Cannonball Day yesterday? I might have done bad math. The kill date should be May 19th this month. Wait, no, I cannot. Hold on. It's May 15th. That's right. I said it was Mercuralia. It was Mercuralia. May 15th. May 15th, the kill date. What makes the kill date is the date numerology is 64, 44, 28. And we were talking about how it fit in with the story about Robert F. Kennedy having mercury poisoning. And they announced that on a Wednesday named after Mercury, one Wednesday before Mercuralia, this ancient Roman festival. And Mercury has to do with vaccines, and RFK's painted himself as someone who demands more answers about jabs. But the 17 matters because it's the Mercuralia date coming up next week, May 15th, which is the kill date for the month because it has the date numerology of 64, 44, 28 like kill. Again, 17 weeks after his birthday. Again, he's 70 years old, and it's going to be 17 weeks after his 70th birthday. Mercuralia's got that 70. And remember, he wrote the book Going Against the Jab, and coronavirus is 70, and COVID vaccine 70. And if you missed my video on that the other day, you might want to check it out. But yeah, just to start with 64 can be a fateful number. No, it's the spaces on the chessboard, of course. The Illuminati founded 64 days before 7/4/1776. They show this article down here from November 9th, 2014, or they have this picture of him right here. And then they chose a picture from November 9th, 2014. That date's got the interesting numerology. It's got the 34 like murder, like where we began with Avicey's girlfriend. It's got the 54 as well, big Jesuit number. But hold on. Sam Rubin, dead at 64, announced by fellow anchor Frank Buckley. We'll see if we can find these men's birthdays if they're famous enough. It says right here, it is such a shock. KTLA morning anchor Eric Spillman said, he was one of my best friends. We worked together every day for 33 years. I mean, and he covers Hollywood, this guy. I mean, Hollywood's got that 33 connection. So covers Hollywood. Spillman described Rubin as a huge and remarkable talent who could talk about anything to anyone. He was born to be a broadcaster, Spillman added. His laugh, charm, and caring personality touched all who knew him. KTLA shared in a social media tribute. Sam was a loving husband and father, the roles he cherished the most. According to Rubin's bio on KTLA.com, he joined the KTLA morning news show in 1991. So yeah, it's 33 years later, going on to win multiple Emmys. So I mean, just right away it stands out. But I see something in this KTLA. Look at KTLA, you guys. 44, 64, 28, just like Kill, the network he worked for. And now he's dead at 64 after 33 years with KTLA. Says he received the Golden Mike Award for Best Entertainment Reporter, a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Southern California Broadcasters Association, was named Best Entertainment Reporter by the Los Angeles Press Club. I wonder when that was. Is that easy to find? Hold on, I just see it easy one to find. Sam Rubin, Golden Mike Award. You know, part of the thing that's frustrating to me about this is, I mean, have you guys ever seen me like do a live decode and it didn't start to make a lot of sense real fast? It's the same repetitive patterns. I've always said to all my critics, if you guys take this knowledge and apply it, I mean, you're not going to be arguing with me anymore. I mean, they're doing the same shit every day. You guys can't hear me anymore? Hold on. Can you guys still hear me? Someone in the chat says, Zach, where are you? You guys not hear me anymore? We're not having more issues, are we? Eric B says yes. I'm assuming that means you can hear me. Audio is good. Okay, we're good. All right, let's look more at, not that. Let's look more at this. And see, this is where people will say we're stretching things, but like to me, it does stand out that CNN posted 620. You follow these numbers, you start to realize there's highly specific patterns. It's a big sacrifice number, 62. It's just it starts feeling like an AI is posting these articles at the right time that has the Kabbalistic gematria to describe what truly happened to Sam Rubin today. Sam Rubin, date of birth. Do we know that he died today? Well, it's saying he did. For the record, today can be written 10-5 like 105. Order of Illuminati does have that 105. He's born on the 47th day of the year, dead on the 131st. So what is that? 84 days later, is that right? He dead 84 days later. Hold on. He's a news guy, born on the 47th day of the year. Yeah, and dead 84 days later. 84 if you're new here. Jesuit equals 84. The Jesuit Order, 84. The Catholic Church, 84. United States of America, 84. The Orwell 84 thing starts to make a lot more sense when you realize he's a Fabian. And the Fabian Society was established in 1884, and it was modeled after the Jesuits, like so many things are, because the Jesuits are a successful, dominant order that have been known about for centuries. Let's look at this Frank Buckley guy. Frank Buckley. He does the KTLA 5 morning news every Monday through Friday, 7 to 11. Let's see if we can find a date of birth for him. Frank Buckley, born in Toronto, likes to believe he was conceived around the same time as his father. Is this the right guy? 1921? No way. He'd be 103 years old. Can't be the right guy. Frank Buckley, still here. I'm still here. I outlived him. He's gone at 64. I don't. Is it this guy right here? Is this the Frank Buckley? Yeah, this is him. Man. Well, I don't know. His information might be out there or it might not be. Frank Buckley's got the right numbers for Hollywood too. Hollywood 129.48, just like Frank Buckley. Remember, 129 is 201 in base 8 counting. Illuminati's 48 and 69. Order of Illuminati's 201. These people on the TV. You guys, I wish I remember what episode it was years ago on TFR. Some of you guys might remember this. You've been listening to TFR a long time ago. There was a woman who called in one night. She only called in ever one time. You know, sometimes you just get callers. You only heard them one time. But she called in. She's like, Zach, I listened to you, and I don't want to tell you who I am, but I'll just tell you this much. I got a husband, and he plays in the NFL, and he told me he just joined the Illuminati tonight. Should I be concerned, Zach? I was like, is he just joking? Like back then, see, I start to wonder how big the Illuminati network is now, and like if there's just levels to it, like a pyramid, and you can get on some entry level, and there's some little perk, but you better not say nothing, or you're going to be the next obituary in the headline. Sometimes I wonder if there's like low levels of Illuminati that just like a sporty athlete can. It must be something like that. But at the time, I didn't like really take the call that seriously. But as time's gone on, I just feel like, yeah, maybe they do let a lot of people into this Illuminati thing. All they got to do is just shut the fuck up. It's like Fight Club. Because, yeah, I mean, just like, why is it always the same numbers around all these people? And I mean, you know, this guy goes home and watches YouTube videos and laughs about conspiracy theorists trying to figure out what it is about 33. I mean, we know a lot about what it is in 33. Again, we talked about it earlier with the human being and Kundalini. And again, all these words with 33 one more time. People, person, society, order, secrecy, masonry, federal. You know what I mean? Bible. Isn't that what they all do in the Fed? You got to always be swearing on that Bible, that other 33. I remember when I first found this knowledge, Sweet Lady thought the dumbest thing. She was understanding a lot, but the first time I had this epiphany, she was like, "No, that one's got to be a coincidence." But like, I was over a month into the research, and I had not realized the whole time that just the word "the" equaled 33. Because I didn't even think to look at "the," because I was like, I mean, what are you going to say about "the"? But then all of a sudden, I was like, wait a minute, "the" equals 33. The like most commonly written word in the language is 33. And again, England equals 33, and London's divided into 33 neighborhood areas. And back when I first started this, it was like an epidemic of 33-year-old bankers jumping to their death. Hold on, let's just read all these tributes to this guy because he's in the entertainment world. Perry Sook, Nexstar founder, chairman, and CEO, called Rubin an icon in Los Angeles and in the entertainment industry in a statement shared with CNN on Friday. My prayers are with his family and the KTLA family as we mourn his passing. He will be missed. I don't know what Nexstar is. Am I the only one who doesn't know what Nexstar is? What's that? It's a media company. Okay, media business. And maybe I don't know, maybe they're connected to that news network. There's probably a reason they put this guy up here first, though. Perry Sook. 43 years in television. He's another guy that you don't have. Well, I don't know if that's the same guy. I don't think that's the same guy. Looks a little different. Veteran actor Henry Winkler said via phone on air on KTLA on Friday that Rubin made every human being feel so special and got them to open up like a flower. Winkler also posted to X, writing, "This is a terrible loss for Sam's family, his coworkers, friends, and his fans. It was always a pleasure to be on set with Sam. He will be sorely missed." It was a very emotional, sad day, not only for the KTLA family, but for the entertainment industry as a whole, said actor Jerry O'Connell on KTLA. The man was a legend. I guess if you lived in LA, you would have known this guy. Because, yeah, I mean, normally you don't, like, this is, like, seriously, this feels like the most tributes I ever saw in a CNN death story. I mean, usually there might be, like, the family said this this associate said that. He's super famous. It might have like 3. God, they got everybody in here for this guy. Modern Family star Eric Stonestreet wrote of Ruben on X. I always enjoyed my time with Sam. Rest in peace, sir. I am so sorry to hear about my friend Sam Rubin going to heaven. I have known him for decades, Richard Simmons posted Friday on X. Richard Simmons. He was always interested in my projects and always laughed at my silly jokes. Sam, you will be missed. On Instagram, Academy Award-winning actor Viola Davis wrote that Rubin's professionalism was unmatched by his kindness and humanity. I will miss your presence on the red carpet. Ben Stiller wrote called Rubin. Is that I mean, there's a lot of typos in mainstream articles. If you guys read my blog, there's a lot of typos because I'm just like trying to keep up with everything. I'm not really that dumb. Sometimes I go back and read things I read. I'm like, oh my God, my mind was way ahead of my fingers, or I don't know how I wrote that sentence. But yeah, there's just so many errors in modern day reporting. Ben Stiller called Rubin a consummate pro in his tribute on X, adding, I did my first interview with him in something like 93 and countless times over the years. See, just things like that. I'm like, maybe they really did cross paths in 93, or are these guys just all speaking in code? I mean, we always talk about 93 and death. It represents Saturn. Saturn's connected to death and judgment. They got to get the quote out there in the media for Ben Stiller. He's got to drop the 93 in there. He loved actors and movies. He made everyone feel comfortable, and it was always fun and easy. He was an institution. Oscar winner Octavia Spencer also wrote a tribute to Rubin on social media, writing, so sad to learn that we've lost Sam Rubin. It was always a pleasure to see him and to be his presence. My condolences to his family and fans. So he does have a Wikipedia page. Again, KTLA 64. Received a Bachelor of Arts in American Studies and Rhetoric after graduating Occidental College in 82. Private liberal art school in LA. Established April 20th, 1887, 137 years ago. It's interesting. 137 is the 33rd prime in light of the 33 in his passing. There for 33 years. His college 137, also an LA institution. Says controversy during a live on-air interview with actor Samuel L. Jackson on February 10th. Isn't that funny? That's the anniversary of Black History Month being recognized by the federal government in 76. This would have been the 38th anniversary. But slavery equals 102, like that date can be written 10/2, like April 12th, typically the 102nd day of the year, the start of the American Civil War. It says Rubin mistakenly asked Jackson about the success of the Super Bowl trailer advertised at the Super Bowl, which featured African-American actor and former Jackson co-star Lawrence Fishburne, who had reprised his role as Morpheus from the Matrix franchise for a car commercial. Jackson was offended by this mistaken reference and proceeded to roast Rubin. So isn't it funny? Because that's like the stereotype, right? That back in the day, white people would say all black people look alike. It's sweet lady's Asian, and she'll joke that she does think all Asian people look alike. But anyway, you got to have a sense of humor about things. People are so uptight. February 10th, 10/2. Again, slavery equals 102. A lot of rituals of Black history in 102 as well. The N-word equals 102. We documented some this past Black History Month with what they did to the singer of Hootie and the Blowfish on the first day of Black History Month, and Carl Weathers and some other things that I forget now, but just the same stuff happens every year. I bet that was actually how the script was, just to create a little race thing and be like, oh man, those white people, they all think we look the same. So, I mean, and literally Samuel L. Jackson and Lawrence Fishburne literally look nothing alike. They both had great movie careers, though. Here, let's see if we can find this recipients. Keith, who's all on that list? I see Keith Oberman's on that list. It doesn't show. Wow, look at that, you guys. The Golden Mike Award is 74 years old right now. Again, just age-old pairing of 74 and 33. Again, 74 and 33 come together a lot. He's dead after 33 years of being on that network. And one of the big stories was he won the Golden Mike Award, this prestigious thing. The reason 74 and 33 come together a lot. I think it's very much biblical, but it could be something more than that. Again, Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, parables, they all equal 74. Jesus on the cross at 33. Out of the 50 states, only one equals 74 in the most simple cipher. It's the 33rd state, Oregon. And a million other things. The other night when the Nuggets started getting upset by Minnesota in the 74th game for Jokic and his coach, they picked up their 33rd. In their 74th playoff games, they picked up their 33rd playoff loss. They'll put these numbers together, 74 and 33 together all the time. Masonic equals 74, Masonry 33. Again, modern Freemasonry, a Jesuit creation, which is the Society of Jesus, going back to the Jesus thing. So we saw his university is 137 too, the 33rd prime. Here, out of curiosity, with this Golden Mike Award. Golden Mike Award's got some fateful numbers in it. Be careful, Golden Mike Award winners. The old 83, murdered by numbers from 1983. There's some other things that are interesting there too, but I'm just going to let it be. Yeah, I mean, the 33 years screams out. 84 days after his birthday. Hello, Jesuits. Oh, by the way, I see something. I see something actually major that I was missing. You know how he's dead 84 days after his birthday, and he's dead on the date that's 10/5? Look at Masonry. Yeah, this really puts it together right here. Yeah, I have. So this is actually, if you wanted to, if you're in the LA area and you want to show this, I'll just even make a short video about this. It'll just be like a minute video. But I see how all four of the Masonry numbers fit into his death today. 10/5, 33 years on the network, 84 days after his birthday, and today's lesser date numerology. It's May 10th, 24. 5 plus 10 plus 24 is 39. So that's not an accident. That's not an accident right there. Thank you, Rick James. Appreciate that, Rick James. Here, I'll check one more thing. I got a little bit more time. I want to check one more thing before I go. Wikipedia, if you type in deaths in 2024, they keep track of deaths in the news. I mean, you're not going to see everybody's death here, but just ones that made headlines. And got it. I see another one there. Corey Williams, basketball player, gone at 46. Genesis 46 sacrifice. Today's got the 59 date numerology. Yesterday was 5/9. Today's got the 59 date numerology and the lesser date numerology of 39. The Jim Simons guy, the hedge fund manager, is dead at 86. I mean, people aren't going to question an 86-year-old's death, but I'll look more into that one later. I just wanted to check real quick yesterday. Sean Burrows. I remember this guy's name. Baseball player. Played for the Padres, the Devil Rays, Arizona Diamondbacks. The Padres are fathers, right? It's like Catholic. Pope Francis is 59. This guy drops dead on 5/9. Jesus Christ is 43, like RIP. Society of Jesus is also 191, the 43rd prime. Traffic collision for the Nigerian footballer. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that he was a black man on 5/9, just dead in the traffic accident. Doesn't look like it's big in our news over here. A football player dead at 29 in Australia. Football equals 29. What did he die from? He's got a pretty big Wikipedia, so he must be a notable athlete over there. It says, after collapsing during a training session, McCarthy was diagnosed with epilepsy. On May 9th, 2024, McCarthy was found dead at a property in Lake Coogee, if I'm saying that right, in Perth. Yeah, but football equals 29, just like Ohio. Ohio's the birthplace of football. American football is credited to Walter Camp at Yale. A swimming coach for Michigan died at 87. Remember, Michigan equals 46 like Catholic. Seen a lot of 87. Remember Tom Brady, which equals 46, the 199th pick in the draft, the 46 prime. He went over there once upon a time and kissed the hand of Pope John Paul II. Yeah, we might have to look into that one. He's got the same birthday as Kobe, huh? I got to take a peek real quick. August 23rd to May 9th. "260 days after his birthday." That's how many chapters are in the New Testament. I have to look more into that one, though. Let's hope it was just a coincidence and he just died of old age. Wait a minute, though. There's an Indonesian singer also gone at 64 today. This Sean Burrows one, I just want to look more into. I remember this guy's name. Born September 12th. That's the day leaving 110 days left in the year. And then gone on the 130th day of the year. 240 days later. You know, the one thing about dying on May 9th in a leap year, the 130th day of the year, the phrase human sacrifice is 130 as well. But yeah, he played for the Padres, which have the father connection. Dies on 5/9 when Pope Francis is 59. Here, you know what? Before I go, I'll show you guys one more thing. You remember how... Here, let's go back down memory lane real quick. Let's go back down memory lane. Just about sports and politics being scripted. I want to go back to spring training, the first spring training game of the year. I want to go back to February 22nd, and I want to take you back through all of this, and I want to show you why it matters about what they're doing today in the MLB. So, first spring training game of the year. The Dodgers whooped the Padres 14-1, right? 14-1. And just so you can see, it's the Dodgers' 141st season. So what a fitting score. God, there's another part of that 141 that I'm letting slip through the cracks that matters about this. But anyway, it's their 141st season. They win the first game of the year 14-1. Now, the man who's running for Senate in California, who's trying to take Dianne Feinstein's seat, is Steve Garvey, who played his major league career with the Dodgers and the Padres. And Steve Garvey, again, expected to win Senate this year. But started with the Dodgers in 69. Last year with the Dodgers was 82, joined the Padres in 83, finished his career at the Padres in 87. Interesting number, 87. But Steve Garvey, his birthday is December 22nd. So notice, from December 22nd to that spring training game, February 22nd, 2024, it was his 63rd day of his age, okay? Major League Baseball in Gematria is 63, okay? So that was the very first game of the entire season for spring training. No other teams played before this. They were the only team that played that day. Nice little MLB connection with Steve Garvey, who's running for office. So remember, this baseball season, opening day was the Dodgers and the Padres in Korea a week before everybody else played. And first game, if I'm not mistaken, was March 20th. Yeah, that's right. March 20th, like Roman Catholic Church 320. The Dodgers won this game on March 20th, and I just want you to see that game, it was 89 days after Steve Garvey's birthday. And that matters because Los Angeles, California equals 89, and so does Los Angeles Dodgers, and of course they won that game. Los Angeles, California, 89. Los Angeles Dodgers, 89. Earlier we were talking about the ritual they did with the Angels last night in 89 and the Kansas City baseball team and how that went back to Mahomes, whose father was a baseball player. If you got here late, these are things we talked about earlier. 89's big number in LA. 89's the 24th prime. Here we are in 2024. You know what happened to Kobe? Finished his career with number 24. But that game, the Dodgers won 5-2, right? And it's the Battle of California. California's 52. We all know what they just did to UCLA. Big example, synced up with Gavin Newsom on 5-2. Gavin Newsom's also 52, like that other longtime California Catholic Jesuit staple, Nancy Pelosi. You know, they all just happen to equal 52, like government, like California. So, again, a game synced with Steve Garvey, who's running for public office, the Senate, one of the highest offices in the land, you know, to represent a massive state. But they're structuring these rituals with him, right? So the reason I'm just showing you these things is because now the Dodgers and Padres have another series, right? And it's beginning, what am I doing? I'm clicking on the wrong day. Where are we? It is May 10th. There we go. That's what I want to click on. So you have this series beginning now with the Padres and the Dodgers. It's funny, it starts at 6:40, like chess spaces. But do you see how the Padres come into this game 20-20? 20-20, right? Steve Garvey's birthday is December 22nd to today is exactly 20 weeks later, right? Exactly 20 weeks. That means the next game in the series. You could also say today is the 141st day of his age, like it's the Dodgers' 141st season. They beat him 14-1. They're going to play again tomorrow, 141 days. Again, there's more to this, but join us on Patreon. These are the things we look at each day, and sometimes the clues are very obvious that lead to the correct outcomes. And sometimes also in a baseball game, you're like, well, if this happens today, that would make a ton of sense tomorrow. So sometimes it's good to watch your observation for the day, because if it hits, it's like, okay, well, I think we're on the right track here. This looks good tomorrow. And then boom, next thing you know, you're on a winner. But Dodgers and Padres, perfectly synced with Steve Garvey from spring training to the week early MLB debut to now this game with the same pattern. Again, you guys, there's a reason that it's like high ritual when they release the schedule. And for all the people say, like, how could they possibly do this? Again, at this day and age, you have AIs to help you out with these things that can do all these human computations in light speed. There's so many ways they can be creating the script. But years ago, we did a live stream and like somebody called in and said, hey, Zach, check this out. And then we put it up in the stream and it was like Justin Bieber's planner. And it was like an MTV special, like a little 4-minute segment of how Justin Bieber has this planner that like literally plans what he's going to post on social media next month on this date. And then where he's going to be, just all this stuff planned out for him for the whole year ahead. Like literally planning what his social media post is going to be in a month. You know, I mean, most of us aren't like that. We're posting on social media with what's on our mind at the time, what we want to get our message out about. You might be like, okay, in a month from now, I definitely got to do that on social media. I mean, you might be doing that, but you don't have like somebody like planning every last thing out. We're living out a planned out agenda. That's the point I'm always making. That's why year after year, we've shown how the sports and the politics are scripted. And when we get things wrong and haters come around, it's like, I don't even care. It's like, do you know how many times we've gotten it right? Do you know how many times we've had a very specific prediction, like way more specific and exact and dead on the money than you've ever seen anybody ever predict before in sports or other things? I mean, we've done it so many times. That's why I don't like getting things wrong, but I also don't care. I'm like, we've already proven our point in spades. I mean, the whole world should have learned about this by now. Everyone should be on the Patreon, joining the sports community, supporting the work, helping make it way bigger. But it is what it is. You know, we're on the animal farm and most people just can't speak the language. Not enough tools in the tool shed. But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give people more tools in their tool shed, but they got to have enough processing power to grasp it. So, yeah, sports, politics, news, nonstop scripts, you know, endless examples. endless examples. And again, thank you to everyone for being generous today, especially Nick. Nick, don't do that though, man. Nick's a young guy. I know he's done well with the sports knowledge in the community. He likes to be generous and give back, but Nick, you've been so generous. Look at you, Nick. You're a young guy, and you're way more generous than most of the grown men in the community. So it's because most of the grown men have come across a day where they knew they needed their rainy day fund. So make sure you got your rainy day fund. I do wish more people supported the work, but at the same time, I don't want like really young people like donating $40, $50 in the live stream. It just doesn't feel right to me. But I do appreciate it, Nick. And again, he's been in the sports community doing well for a while. So still, I'd like him to save his money. Thank you again to everyone who does support the work. Thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. And I do have to run a few errands here, so getting close to the deadline. Oh, by the way, shout out to Gematria32. He pounded pavement with us all over in New York City. And he's always got great comments in the chat. And just another reminder of just a big 42 ritual in history. So... all right, yeah, if you got here late, you probably want to rewind the good stuff. It's always at the beginning. Until next time, True Seeker.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. We all must be crazy, right? I must be crazy. You must be crazy talking about these things. Specifically speaking about cannibalism recently and how we're seeing it shoved down our throats. Remember, the key to mind control is repetition. So when they roll this stuff out, they're going to do it in consecutive order for a reason. They're not going to need to spread it around from year to year, okay? They will spread it around from year to year, but to get the point across, to get the repetition across, just like playing a song on the radio that just comes out by Katy Perry over and over and over, to get that witchcraft stuck in your head, they do the same stuff here with predictive programming. So it's not a coincidence that in the last week or so, covering Santa Clarita Diet, to covering the Russians bathing in the deer blood and drinking the deer blood, to the atheist guy who's talking about how he will, hopefully by the end of the year, they'll be selling human flesh in the supermarket. Then comes, of course, an episode from the X-Files. The X-Files, which is filled with predictive programming. I've covered so many episodes this year just to show people out there what they're doing, how they're desensitizing people, right? They covered the Mandela effect. They covered artificial intelligence and what the plan is for people with AI. And now, of course, we get a cult in this episode, which shows you exactly what these Satanists and occultists believe in and exactly what they do. And of course, it wouldn't be an episode if they weren't mocking Christianity along the way, with every murder quoting the Bible, having the two main characters in church getting their Catholic, communion. All of this stuff strategically done on purpose. The theme of the show for this episode was about how doctors were organ harvesting. So they were removing the organs from patients and then sending them over to this woman who had all of these children and teens, I should say, captive, living with her, but they were willingly living with her. They were willingly living there because they were part of a cult. And in this cult, they were drinking human blood, eating organs, right? And somebody intercepted some of the stuff that was supposed to be sent. And guess what? The characters were all upset because they didn't get their human heart. Now, the woman is supposed to be 85 years old. This woman who looks like she's probably in her 40s is supposed to be 85. And the theme is that drinking of the blood, eating of the organs keeps you young forever, right? And the title of the show is Nothing Lasts Forever. But the theme of the show is that these people believe that. And this is exactly what the Satanists and the occultists believe. Now, during the rituals that involve young children, which I hate to even have to address, but it's the truth. The sexual molestation of these children revolves around them believing that they consume the soul of that child.
when they perform these acts on children as young as a few months old. They believe